Okay. Yes, I'm as ready as I'll ever be. Story of my life.
Oh, Joe's on.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Nantucket Historic District Commission. It's Tuesday, September 23rd at 4:01 p.m. This meeting is being audio-video recorded. Anything you say or share will be shown on the town's YouTube. Please act appropriately. Let's see, the HDC takes comments from the public via email. The comments are due Monday, 8 a.m. of the meeting of the week of the respective meeting. And the address is hdcpubliccomment@nantucket-ma.gov. Again, hdcpubliccomment@nantucket-ma.gov. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Excellent. We'll do those at the table, which are for the evening, Abby, Val, Stephen, and Connie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Okay, so commission discussion and/or vote historic determination and elevation certificates. This was just pretty simply to systematize as a policy determination by the commission that the certain documents would be, which I'll pass on to Holly in a moment, would be required at the time of application when you're submitting for an historic determination or an application that involved elevation certificates. Holly, would you mind hitting the high points on that, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Absolutely. So we all know with our historic determination application, those are for contributing structures that are eligible to be exempt from the substantial compliance section of the building code. We now have our own, as of earlier this year, our own HDC application specifically for these, where people can check off the applicable code they're requesting that exemption for. In recent times, it had to do with our Resilient Nantucket Design Guidelines, where if you're elevating a historic structure, you do not have to be the full FEMA required height, follow the design guidelines, but in order to be exempt, we need to have that historic determination on file with the building commissioner. So that is all on that, as well as the Resilient Nantucket. When you all approved Resilient Nantucket Design Guidelines back in, believe it or not, June of 2021, that was an MVP action grant from Massachusetts State. We also, if you're elevating a historic or contributing structure, want to be able to apply or also submit that historic determination, as well as we need to have those elevation certificates, because at the end of the day, you all need to know that the design professional is actually getting that information from a land surveyor or engineer that actually says this is where it's located, not just staff saying this is where you're located, as well as we want to know where your BFE and your DFE is in line. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Holly. So on just a recap, historic determination, there'll be a list of paperwork that's required. If a flood certificate is involved, then there will be a couple items there. And with the flood certificate, anything that involves a flood certificate, we're going to want the fermet and a certificate form. And again, Holly and the office will be providing details. Can I get a motion to approve that policy determination?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
All right, again, it'll be the members at the table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Next order of business is consents.
I have to sit off.
Okay, let's see how tricky this will get. Val has to sit off. Anyone else? Carrie.
Yep, I do.
Is Joe with us?
Yeah.
I'm here, yeah.
Joe, do you have any recusal on this?
No, I don't.
Okay, so it'll be Abby, myself, Connie, and Joe. Is Angus online?
He's trying to get on.
Okay, well, we'll wait for Angus at another time. Is there a motion for consents?
So moved.
Approve consents? As submitted?
As submitted, yes.
Okay, great. All in favor say aye. On your motion, Abby?
Aye.
Connie?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. That carries unanimously. Now we're on to consent with conditions. Any recusals? Val?
Yeah.
Anyone else? All right, so it'll be Abby, myself, Connie, Carrie, and Joe. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve. Consents with conditions.
Okay, on your motion,
I'm an aye.
Connie?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, carries unanimously. Any recusals on signs? There's one sign, 149 Orange Street, wall sign, the Island Blend. Ooh,
Dying to know what that is.
yeah, that could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
No recusals, we'll go with who's sitting at the table. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the sign committee?
I will make that motion.
All in favor?
Recommend approving for the sign committee.
Perfect. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Next item, number 5. We're going to go right through the agenda like this, guys. Be
Okay.
ready. Be succinct.
Lightning round.
No unnecessary repetitiveness. Authority having jurisdiction. Let's see, Commissioner Q&A with Preservation Planner. As we know, Holly does a review and submits staff comments for our review prior to the meeting. Are there any questions for her on any of those comments?
How do we not forget what we've read when we've read so many
Okay, so
before the meeting?
my suggestion is that you read them before the meeting and you have the staff comments, which are available to us online, available to look at when we're looking at the application. If you need time to re-review, or that's the first time you're reviewing them, they are relatively short and easily digestible. And you can let the chair know that you do not want to be first, second, or third. There are typically 5 members on a hearing, on an application, so it gives you plenty of time to review the information as you're sitting at the table, okay?
That's assuming we remember all of that.
Open it up at the table and read it if you need
In
to.
addition to working, yes, okay.
No,
thank
no,
you.
you're sitting, Val, I want to be really clear about this because it's important. We are sitting here at the table. There are 5 members speaking. Our determinations are based upon our subjective review of objective materials, which are the rules and the guidelines, and any policies and procedures we pass. Secondarily, we take into consideration the preservation planner comments. If you have a question and you think you may have forgot something, you have time during the course of an application, as long as you're not first, second, or third, to open the staff comments and review them. So that's what I would encourage you to do. Thank you.
Looked at them all day.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. I'll go back to the original question. Are there any questions for, within the Commissioner Q&A with Preservation Planner on staff comments? Okay. Holly, anything CLG?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One thing, the CLG report was officially submitted to the state. And to clarify, the number of COAs that you all reviewed this past fiscal year was exactly 2,110 COAs. That's everything. So just wanted to make that point for the record. You guys have been busy.
Thank you, Holly. I think if we had a reliable Wi-Fi signal in here, we could do 2,500 a year with a lot less frustration for ourselves and the public, the people we serve.
Is
Holly?
that more than other places?
Per the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions, you're looking at the busiest historic district in the country. So yes, absolutely.
Holly, do you happen to have a metric on how, by how far? Are we double? Are we?
I don't have an actual metric, but the fact that we have no donut holes in our jurisdiction, we are the largest contiguous historic district, both local and national. So that's saying something.
Yeah, and on a density basis, that comparison you just made, it includes major cities.
Absolutely. I think you can get a lot of the density out of the NHL update. I want to say it actually indicates 13,000 plus properties.
Yeah.
So that's a lot.
Interesting stuff. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, we're going to move on to number 6, which is an item, an application carried over from the August 16th meeting at our request, 16 Wall Street. Sitting as myself, Ray is absent, Abby, functional pen, Angus, is Angus on? Angus, would you pipe up if we can't, so we can know if we can hear you? Joe's sitting. Connie will be an alternate. And if we don't get Angus momentarily, I want to move on and Val will be activated. Did you take a grumpy pill today?
I did. I'm sick of
Does anyone have a Snickers? Okay, Angus, going once, twice, 3 times. Val, you're activated. Okay, Robbie, good afternoon.
Hello, thank you for taking this evening. This is
Sure,
very
welcome.
helpful. So if we could scroll to sheet 1B, I don't know where it is in the queue. It might be the last sheet in your lineup. But it shows 4 alternate sightings for the project. So keep going, please. Yeah, you gotta go a ways down. No, it'll have 4. Yeah, it might be the next. There might be one past this.
Robbie, do you recall what the file is labeled? Is it the- Yeah,
16 Walsh Old Business.
so the topic was to work out, why don't I just run a little prep here? Okay, so where we left it with Robbie was to provide some alternative reorientations, and other than that, the architectural elements were generally approved
Yes.
or determined to be approvable, and Robbie now has a site plan. Please walk us through it.
Okay, so the top left hand, and then they go clockwise around the sheet. So the top one is the one that the owner would prefer, and of course, it's keeping it as close to Walt Street so that they maintain a little bit of the backyard in that back southwest corner. So that one keeps it at 9.5 feet from Walt Street. And there's a 5-foot setback on that side. The next one to the right keeps it at 12 feet. The bottom right-hand corner pushes it to 15 feet. And then the final one, which puts it all the way over to the left-hand setback line, is 19 feet from the property line. So we hope that we can reach someplace in the middle. So we would like to propose a 12-foot setback from the property line, which would be the top right-hand solution.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, any abutters? Well, any questions?
So can I just
Yeah,
clarify?
Abby?
So, we're talking about how the front of the building, how it faces, East Lincoln. Is that correct? And which one is the most, perpendicular to,
This one?
so
Well-
lower left, okay.
The one that maintains the original orientation of the structure is the one on the top left-hand corner. So as it rotates around, it gets further away from the original orientation. So the one that's most perpendicular would be the lower left solution, but that gives him the least amount of backyard space, which is very tight anyway.
So Robbie, just to say that a different way, if I may, original, and it rotates to a greater amount to parallel or perpendicular to Lincoln as it goes around to here.
Yes.
Okay. Mickey, did your group, if you could please identify them and, oh, hey, Mary, if you'd please identify the group and then let us know if they had a preference. Robbie, can you, I don't know if you
sure.
realized.
Sorry, Mickey.
That's okay, thank you. I'm Mickey tonight, thank you. Mary Bergman for Mickey Rowland, Jason Finger, myself, and Marcia Fader. Preferred option 3 or 4.
Okay, thank you. Again, just the board is myself, Abby, Joe, Connie, and Val. Why don't we start with Abby?
So I like the one where it's most perpendicular to East Lincoln. You do get a nice front yard. You may be giving up the backyard, but at least we're saving the old style orientation of that street. So I would go with that one.
Okay, and can I just clarify for the record, when you say like, you mean you think it's the most appropriate?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Let's see, Joe?
I have a question. Is that option 4, Abby, that you were just describing?
Yes.
In that rotation, yes.
It's lower left.
Yeah, lower left. Well, I think clearly that's the one that's most favorable relative to both of the streets. And that one jumped out to me as the one that I thought was most appropriate. I will say though that, hearing Robbie describe how the existing orientation is really represented in the upper left corner. And clearly if let's just say we went with that one for a second, the orientation of the building is the same, but it's sliding closer to Walsh and coming further back from East Lincoln. So it's definitely an improvement on East Lincoln, but it is getting significantly close to Wall Street. I think there's an argument for that because it is of the same orientation as the existing building, but I do think it's going to feel packed along Wall Street. I do think that the options 2 and 3 do provide, it's an increasing amount of vegetation screening that would be available. I'd be okay with 2, 3, or 4. 4 is definitely the one that is the most favorable relative to both of the streets.
Thanks, Joe. Connie?
I was going to say the same thing. I would be okay with 2, 3, or 4.
Dale?
Well, I think what's been lost is that we're saving a building, and I think the orientation that it's in is the orientation that people are used to seeing. So I could go with 2 or 3.
Okay, thanks. So my thoughts are that the orientation may be the same in 1, close to it in 2, and not quite as close to it in 3, but still generally. But the structure has moved considerably. Joe mentioned kind of tangentially from the center of the lot to border Wall Street on the setback. So for me, that concept of orientation is kind of out the door. And I think the orientation now is redefined by the presence of what will be on the neighboring lot where there was no home, where this house partially resided. And that is parallel to Lincoln, mostly so. Number 4 puts the orientation of the structure more in line with that and more in line with all the structures on Lincoln. So while it would be a slightly smaller, I would say a more intimate backyard space, I think the bigger duty is to the presentation of the character and setting, and therefore number 4 for me. What would we like to do?
Just to clarify, could we just go over what the top left is 1?
Well, let's say, let's go by quadrant. Either you're gonna do you want the top left, if someone makes a motion that's top left, top right, bottom left.
Okay.
Okay?
Could we
Since
make
they're
a
not
comment?
numerically ordered and you could.
May I say one more thing?
Briefly.
Could we compromise with solution number 3?
I think you have the votes, but let's see
Okay.
what happens with a motion.
I'll make a
Okay.
motion.
Excellent.
Motion to approve option number 3.
Okay.
And include a historic determination.
Right here.
Okay.
Yep. Option number 3 for the record is the lower right and of the 4 shown in quadrants. Val, and does your motion include the historic determination finding?
Oh, I didn't know we were. And also to include the historic determination.
That the relocation and reorientation will not substantially change the character and setting of the structure as to the extent to modify the historic character. You don't
Okay.
have to repeat it. It's just for the minutes.
Okay, what he said.
Just for
Could
the
I
minutes.
just second
for the-
that for a second?
Yeah.
So this is, and the one that that we're voting on is the compromise one. It's the one that's in
15
between.
feet from,
Well,
It's a compromise between the bottom left and the, I don't know, the top right.
I don't know if I would characterize it as a compromise. You know, there's a couple ways to look at compromises. A compromise on a bad idea is still a bad idea. If you give people three options and only one of them is the one you want, and that's the one you get, that's not a compromise. So let's just pick the one that we think is most appropriate.
I just did that,
Individually,
yeah.
there's a motion on the table, and it's in the lower right quadrant. Okay?
Yeah.
Abby?
did you look at it before?
Guys, let's
Okay.
vote, please.
I'm okay with it.
Okay, thank you so much. Val?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Connie?
Aye.
Okay, and for the record, I'm a no, so Welch is a no. In favor carries,
Thank you, everyone.
good to go. Okay, we're gonna now move on to 10 Candlehouse Lane, as-built
Yeah,
color
Mr.
change.
Mr. Chair, the
Yeah.
property owner is online, and this is a violation that was brought before the property owner, and the as-built fee has not been collected yet.
Okay. Let's see, I think it would be beneficial, Kathy, if you just gave us the rundown, and then we'll talk to the agent, the owner.
So this came in as a citizen's complaint. They've clabbered, that's the original clabbered color, and it's now a blue. And I sent out the violation notice, and then this property owner responded with the application.
Okay, just so I'm not quite clear, this is the original color or the painted
That,
color?
that's the color on the GIS right now.
That's the
No,
original.
She has to forward the screen, I don't know which
Yeah,
slide
what's
it's
the
on.
color that?
It's like a deep blue,
The next
Pale
page.
navy.
yeah.
Oh,
There-
okay,
There
yeah,
it is, Mr. Chair, turn
Yeah.
around and.
okay.
Wedgwood.
All right, I think a picture says 1,000 words, and we can just make a determination about what we think of the color and what we think about the as-built fee.
I don't know if the color really,
Melissa?
hi,
Melissa?
this is really
Hi,
a tank.
Melissa. Welcome to the
Hi.
HTC.
Yeah, I'm glad to be
Hey,
here.
Melissa, it'll work a lot better if you just wait until you're recognized, and then you can speak, okay?
Okay, sorry. Okay,
No,
sorry.
it's fine. There's no reason to apologize. Just want to explain the procedure. So Melissa, we have an understanding of what's happened here, and if you want to give us an explanation, you're welcome to, or why you think it fits the character and setting of the street, that's also welcome information that we can take into consideration. Thank you. You have-
Sure, it was not our intention at all to disregard the rules, but we respectfully request that the commission evaluates the color that we selected. We are on a very slow street that people don't drive down very much. And that color does not really depict the dark blue color. That's a little bit more teal than what we painted. And we respectfully adhere to what you decide.
Thank you. Okay, let's see, the
That's the
board.
color.
Thank you, Melissa. The board is going to be, I gotta get that set up. Angus, Abby, Val, myself, and Connie.
I'll
Who'd
go.
like to go? Val.
I know we have a blue color that is approvable. Um, I don't see the chart in here, so,
Hamilton blue, right?
Yeah,
right,
it's
which
Hamilton.
is lighter.
Yeah, much later.
I don't find it egregious.
Do you find it approvable?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Abby?
I find it too harsh. I've seen this color in other colonial towns, but I've not seen it on Nantucket, and I haven't seen it especially in this area, which is pretty subdued. And I would go with a lighter gray, or lighter gray blue, but not, well, I'll keep it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Angus?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. I've looked around the neighborhood, and I honestly haven't seen this color on any structure of any style, but as far as this sort of getting towards the rural part of town where colors are more muted, this dark blue is not approvable in my mind.
Thank you. Connie?
Yeah, I would be more in favor of the approvable Nantucket, the Hamilton blue, than what, the blue that's depicted here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that this is, it's atypical, but it's approvable. It sounds like that may not be the majority. Do we have a motion?
I'll try a motion.
Sure.
Motion to approve as submitted, and for the applicant to pay the fine,
Which is what?
$500.
So 10 times, so.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot when you say 10 times. Okay, we got a motion on the floor. Bill, we're all here. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
You're the swing?
Nay.
Nay, okay.
I didn't know if I'd say aye
Two in
or
favor,
nay.
3 opposed. For the record, Angus, Abby, and Connie were opposed. Can I please have an alternate motion?
Hold for a alternative color, historic.
Why don't we deal with that now? Would you mind holding that motion?
Yes, I'll hold it, but I don't know if we should go through the color thing with the board. I think they should present the color that they.
Yeah,
want to
I
do.
understand that, but
Okay.
we're here now, so I want to give them an opportunity to do that, if they have one in mind. Melissa, given the board has not approved what's there, do you have a historic color such as the Hamilton blue that you would be interested in, or would you like to revisit the color and come back at another time?
No, we won't come back. We have the historic colors, the 8 that we received from Marine, and we will choose one of those 8 and repaint. And I apologize. I'm really sorry.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate you working with us, and you have that opportunity, and we'll look forward to seeing the application back. Okay.
Before we close on this, is there a fine that we need to be, that we are
It'll be addressed, actually, it should be addressed. We can address it when you come back. We're basically holding the application over. We'll vote on it. We're holding the application over for additional information, and then the matter will be settled, and the fine will, I presume, be part of the approval. Did we vote on that?
I can make that motion.
I think that was Abby's.
Okay, yeah.
if we choose to paint one of the 8 colors that are approved, will we still be fined, or will that be waived?
Melissa, we'll have to address that at that time. We have a motion on the table here. We're going to vote.
Can I just clarify something?
Yes.
So it doesn't, if they find a color that's historic, that's not on the chart, that's a lighter gray, it doesn't have to be Hamilton blue, which would look a little out of place in this neighborhood. So something subtle, something quieter would be my recommendation. Thank you.
Okay.
And while the colors are approvable, they're not necessarily approved without coming before us and getting approved. So you'll have to pick a color and come back to us.
Okay, so some public service announcements. I want to be clear, though, now that we've brought up this level of detail. Melissa, the easiest way to proceed, the most effective way to proceed, is to pick out a color or pick out 3 colors that somehow resemble the character and setting type of presentation that the approved historic colors do. Bring in 5 samples, color swatch samples of each of the 3 colors you select. Label them on the application, and we will then be able to take a look at, we'll have 3 options. We'll have the actual color in front of us, and we'll be able to hopefully make a determination at this point and move the business along, okay?
Yes, I appreciate that. I just don't want to be fined and I don't want our neighbors to
Okay.
be angry with our
Thank you.
color.
Yeah, I get you. You know, once it's remedied, maybe the fine will go away. I don't know. We'll have to make that determination at that point. I don't want to be short. We need to move this along, guys.
Yeah,
The
heard.
motion
Thank you
is
so
then-
much.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
The motion is therefore to hold for additional information.
Yes, for additional
Thank you.
colors, yes.
Hi, it's Melissa again. When do I need to bring the paint colors back to you?
Melissa, hi.
Yes? Hi.
Please reach out to the office offline, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Yeah, bye-bye. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Whew. Okay, we're on to 26 Arlington, Solar Edition. This was a view.
But they didn't have the plan of the addition, so it was hard to review it.
Okay, Abby, the application Val's reporting was incomplete, so we want to make sure we highlight that for staff so they know in advance. But
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, through you to Val, I had Fiona add I added the previous
plan?
submission into this application for you at your request.
you.
So it should be up there. That's helpful.
okay, we're going to begin with 26 Arlington. Is the applicant's agent here?
Oh, there's someone else raising their hand. Hang on. Brendan, are you for this application?
Yes, that is me.
Hi, Brendan. Why don't we start with the site plan? Are you going to screen share or are you going to have our staff do that presentation?
Your staff, I believe his addition has already been approved by the committee. So our approval is just seeking just the roof alone, as we've already done the main home, as we were approved last year. So this is kind of that phase two, us just wanting to get that roof approved for him.
May I, Mr. Chair?
No, please, hold on a second. Is the original approval included in the application? I don't remember seeing that.
It is now.
Okay, so the original approval encompassed,
The original approval was the office addition, and then this is the solar on the office addition.
okay, so the original approval was not for solar, it was for the addition.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking at solar as a brand new application. Okay, just to avoid confusion.
All right. They already got solar approved on.
Yep. So yeah, our original specifically was the main home that we were approved last year for the solar shingles.
But no solar was approved on the addition.
Correct. This was like a phase two. He decided to put an addition on the home and wants to have it uniform.
Perfect, we appreciate the presentation. The board is Angus, Abby, me, Val, and Joe. We'll start our rotation with the alternates. Who'd like to begin?
I
Val.
will. I noticed there was no plan of the addition on the house. All the photos show the house without the addition, and therefore, in my mind, it was an incomplete application.
Okay, now that we have it in front of us, do you have a comment on the architectural elements, or you want a completed application to proceed?
I don't want to waste my time on something that was incomplete, so someone else can make a comment.
Can we scroll to the addition so we can see the elevations instead of just the layout of the solar?
Yes, I don't think there's elevation
Oh, that's
showing
right.
the solar.
You're right.
There's a roof plan that shows it.
Yeah, but
Right.
there aren't, guys, I really don't want to get into the crosstalk stuff, please. We're off to a molasses start. Let's try and get our business in order.
That's why I didn't put it on consent.
Thank you, Abby. Would you like to comment on the location based upon on having the solar on the secondary mass based upon the location
Well,
on the property
sure.
and relative to the street,
Sure.
please.
We've already okayed it on the main building, and the addition is smaller and uniform. Is it the same type of tile?
It's exactly the same.
Okay, so I'm just, without seeing the elevations, I'm saying I'm probably, I'm okay with this. It's
Okay,
incomplete, but
thank you. Angus?
Since it's already on the front of the main structure, I don't think I have an issue with it being on a secondary addition to the main structure. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Abby and Angus. I have no concerns given the approval previously.
Thank you, Val.
Well, I just want to say, I thought when we first started all this solar stuff, our goal was not to have solar panels covering everything. And this is 51 just on the small portion after the whole house already has it. So it seems like an overkill to me. That's my comment.
Thanks, Val. I believe that solar on the front of the main roof is inappropriate, and, but this does meet the guidelines, so I will be voting in favor. It's
I'll
on a
make a-
secondary structure. What color is the roof?
White, gray,
Gray?
light gray.
Yeah, it should be a black roof, however. What's the
No,
main roof color?
The main panels, they are a black.
No. What is his first name?
Brandon.
Brendan, I'm sorry, I couldn't recall your first name. The
That's okay.
guidelines are that the roof color be black, not.
Correct.
Solar panels are typically black, unless you guys are getting new colors. That'll be an interesting discussion here at the table.
No, these are black. They only come in one color as
Brandon,
that solar
Brandon,
shingle.
Brandon, the roof shingles are supposed to be black. Are you proposing black roof shingles?
These are the shingles are the solar panels.
It's the Tesla.
This is the Tesla solar roof. Yes, we had brought samples in and around last year. So the shingles are the panels.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Not a problem.
Okay, so that is off the table for me as a concern.
And I could add to this a motion that this would be a test case, because I don't think we've done the Tesla tiles yet.
We have, but this would be a prominent location, so
Yeah.
what I would suggest is the motion would be that, given exceptions to the guidelines to test in place this style of tile, that's what the approval is subject to.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are the panels on the main roof Tesla as well?
Yes.
They are correct.
Okay.
I'd forgotten about this one.
I did too.
Okay. Abby, your motion is that based upon character and setting and as a test case, this is approvable?
That's my motion.
Okay. All in, on your motion?
Aye.
Angus?
Hi.
Dale?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
And given it's the Tesla and the test case, I'm an aye. Okay. We are on to 41 Macy Lane, rooftop solar. Tobias, good evening.
Thank you, Chairman. 41 Macy's Lane is a nice working-class neighborhood. We're proposing to do solar on the east and west pitches of the roof. There is a hedge screening from the street a certain level. It is somewhat visible from the road. We've kept the design demure, and we're happy to do some returns, just like we did up on Born and Bred, to mitigate the returns of the panel back onto the roof, which was a great application.
Thanks, Tobias. The board is Angus, Abby, myself, Val, and Carrie.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, as we understand it now, our old policy was at for it to go to side, so it was less discernible as solar panels versus the roof, and this roof is black, thank you. But it looks like the lower portion of the roof doesn't have any panels. Is that because of the 3-foot access all the way around predicated by the fire department?
The bottoms, we can bring the panels as low to the, I guess, the drip edge as you would like. I just centered it, just as a habit of centering things. It's an old mason's curse, I guess.
Tobias, just to be clear, what you're suggesting is not to add more panels to fill the space, it's to relocate the panels on the axis?
Yeah, we could do what,
Or can you add panels to fill the space?
I don't think we can add panels without compromising the setback on the north edge along the ridge for fire access and along the sides.
Okay,
But as it's submitted, that's fine.
thank you. Val, any other questions?
No.
Okay, you want to comment, please?
I think that setback thing is unfortunate, because when they go from edge to edge, you really don't see them, but who cares? It's working class neighborhood. We don't care about those.
Okay, do you want to comment on the roof color?
The roof color is black, so that's
I just
appropriate.
thought, Yep, thought a little positive in nature. Abby,
I'm okay with the application, thank you.
Angus,
As well.
Carrie?
Me too. I'm glad that everyone is in agreement.
Okay. What to do? I'm on no, given it's on the front of the structure. So, it doesn't meet the guidelines, and there's tons of room for a ground array.
I do agree with that.
All right, so do we have a motion?
Nope.
Anyone? Guys, we had,
Well, I was okay with it before you said that.
we had
No.
3 in favor.
Yeah. No, I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
Okay, let's see, on your motion.
Aye.
Angus?
I'm sorry, I missed the part about this being on the front, and that doesn't meet the guidelines, so I'm an A.
Carrie?
We just approved one that everybody forgot we approved on Arlington, and then it was approved on the front again. So if this has to be a test case on the front in a neighborhood of working buildings, working class human beings who live here, I'm happy to go along with it.
Okay, thank you. I do want to clarify, though, for the record, Carrie, the reason that the Arlington was approved, since my memory was refreshed, is that that's a Tesla roof shingle, which is very much akin to the historic roof shingle shape, proportions, and also its attachment to the roof, as opposed to these solar panels that are surface mounted, much larger, and typically have separations and patterns that don't match the roof shingle pattern. I'm not trying to persuade you, I'm giving you simple information, and for the record, why the Arlington was approved as a test case initially, and why I went ahead with it on the secondary mass, knowing it was going to go side to side and actually be a black roof in addition.
Understood.
Go ahead, Carrie.
I understand, and I do know that there are other solar panels like this on black roofs that do face the street, front or not. We see them and we don't see the front door. So that's my point. Thank you.
Okay, and not to be left unsaid, that typically if a structure has solar panels on the front, there are mitigating factors, not least of which are vegetative screening, trees, shrubs, other buildings, the distance from the street. The information needs to be out there for the record, and it also needs to be out there for people to understand the HDC is not making willy-nilly decisions. Val?
I am a no.
Okay, and I'm a no. So the motion doesn't carry. Do we have another motion?
Motion to hold for revisions.
Okay, do we, please, can we, while we have Tobias here, could we please hold the motion and explore the concept of vegetative screening?
Yeah, I'm happy to explore the concept. What did the board have in mind, you know?
I would suggest that, knowing that you are open to that, representing the applicant, that we would put this on a view and everybody go out and take a view of it. And Tobias, if you could use your discerning eye, having umpteen hours addressing these matters, take a look at it, come up with a landscape plan that we can opine on. at
I think
next
the
meeting.
landscaping plan here, you know, if you look at the site, you know, I think we're all kind of familiar with this area. There's a lot of cars parked out on the street. You know, if you look at the pictures, there's, you know, a 2-car driveway on the front right side of the building. We could propose doing a tree somewhere in behind the hedge, but,
Yeah,
you know, there's a hedge, we can let it grow up more. You know, Zach and I have done 200+ solar arrays on the island. Zach's trying to get solar on his house, so I'm just trying to represent him, trying to do a good thing. We're happy to do it as a test case, but I don't feel like delaying this application for a whole landscaping plan is going to be appropriate.
thank you for your thoughts and the additional information. We typically would require at least a couple of street trees in a situation like this. So if you guys want to act on it, I have absolutely no concerns with having, you know, an additional couple minutes of discussion to further this.
Well, I think
Abby?
we've had some good suggestions that you could add to it. So I keep my motion as to hold for revisions and see what they come up with.
Okay, thank you. Angus?
I think you had a good point about there being room for a ground array. With the parking there, I'm not sure how much you'd really be able to screen, and if you put a tree right between the parking here and the building, there's, like, it would probably grow up and block the sun from the array. So I'm not sure how successful that would be.
Okay, thank you. I want to bring us back to the motion. That's useful information on your position to the applicant's agent, but the motion is to hold for some type of a screening visual mitigation
Yeah.
plan.
I don't think we're going to be able to come back.
Tobias, okay,
Like,
thank you.
and there's some other people who might
Tobias?
like to speak as well on the application.
We're at the point where we have a motion on the floor. We've been discussing it. We're going to vote. The motion is to hold for additional information being a screening plan.
Correct.
Okay. Angus,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
me, I, Val,
Okay.
and Carrie.
Aye.
Okay.
So I don't understand, like where are we supposed to put a tree? I said I could put one to the
Tobias,
left of the
this is
driveway.
this is going into the verge of theater. You understand the process. The board has asked for, as pointed out, as in the past, as you have provided. I'm indulging you here. This is not something we typically do, is have long discussion afterwards with an applicant's agent, especially somebody who is well-versed in the process. We're looking for a couple of street trees close to the street.
Happy to bring back a
Typically,
tree
if
next
you
week.
bring back
Very
a
well.
landscape plan, as soon as you get it in, we'll review it and we'll move it along. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. 10 Angola. Val.
It is confusing as we do.
Well, everyone needs to follow the guidelines.
Huh?
Nothing. I'll address the commission on the guidelines at a later date and consistency. 10 Angola Street, hardscape. Val Oliver is obviously the agent.
Yeah, and the owner is here as well. This actually was on consent, but we pulled it off because there was a misunderstanding with the neighbor about an easement that doesn't exist, and we didn't want that to get rolled into anything to do with HDC. So that's been ironed out. It's pretty straightforward. We're straightening the driveway. Instead of, well, can you move it up, Fiona? Thanks. to the next page, probably. Yeah. We're straightening the driveway, adding a turnaround spot. And right now, the driveway with the lot next to it on the left has a shared, well, partially shared apron. That lot has been sold. It's no longer part of this lot. When my guy bought it, they were already separated. So we're taking away what used to be connected to this. You can see it in the upper right-hand corner. And putting a split rail fence to match the split rail fence that's there. And right now, there's a concrete block, little retaining wall from the front door with a couple of granite steps to the driveway. We're gonna make that stone.
Thank you. Let's see, any questions for Val? I'll have one when I speak. Do we have any abutters? Do we have anything from historic group? Is Mickey online or?
Holly actually was okay with it.
Okay. Yeah, well, is she on Zoom? Oh, okay, I didn't hear you. Thank you. Okay. Angus, Abby, me, let's see, it'll be Joe and Connie. Who'd like to go?
And it's asphalt right now, and we're changing it from asphalt.
Okay, thank you.
This is Joe. I reviewed this for consent and put it on consent and noted that Holly had no concerns, so I do not have any concerns.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, Connie,
I also have no concerns, thank you.
thank you. Abby?
My only concern was the turnaround that is right in front of the house, and so takes away from that view. So I wasn't in favor of the turnaround. Also, shell, I don't know. It's pretty rural there, and I would prefer something like a pea stone. But I did have some question about the stairs going up on the left. They're faced with stone.
Right now, it's concrete blocks, and we're gonna put some stone in front of the concrete blocks. The steps that are granite are there, they're staying. Really, what's happening is a turnaround, which is desperately needed since this goes downhill, a huge slope, makes it a little difficult to back out onto the street. And it's asphalt right now. We'd like to change that to shell or gravel.
I've said what?
Shell, preferably.
Okay, thanks, Val.
And the apron is there.
Thank you. Can we, Angus?
Yeah, no, I don't have an issue with it if it's going to shell. A pea stone seems a little precarious at that slope, but I'm fine with either one.
Okay, and can we zoom in on the stone?
Every driveway on this street has
Thanks,
shell.
Val. Can we zoom in on the stone, please?
There may be more pages. Did anyone look at it ahead of time and go by it?
So, Michael, can I
It's
ask?
too bad our select board member isn't still here to see this, because this was really what I'd like for them to have taken away.
What's that?
The slowness of the internet connection. I mean, we waste 15 minutes a night on this type of stuff. Hold on one second, please. I want to look at the stone.
Can I
and
ask
then-
Val a question while you're?
Yeah, go ahead.
Val, where is that intended, the stone wall?
It's intended to be where the concrete blocks are now. If you look next to the garage,
Thanks, Fiona. You can go back to the site plan views, please. And then Abby, I'm gonna address that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have no concern with Val, we're wrapping it up. I have no concern with the relocation of the apron. I have no concern with the materials. My concern is the adding the turnaround at the existing grade. I think the grade entering the garage and sloping down to the street on its natural existing slope should be carried over to the turnarounds, and then the retaining wall should go on the house side of that parking space. The result will be that you don't have a car parking on the front of the house, 30 or so feet from the street, elevated, so you're literally looking underneath the undercarriage. Hold on, Val, please.
You're misunderstanding the whole application, but go ahead.
Okay, well, there is not a retaining wall shown on the far side of the parking area.
Because it's not going to be there.
Okay, so I'm telling you what I, as one of the members of the authority having jurisdiction, would require to make this approvable. And what I would require is that there would be a retaining wall such that the grade at the parking area matches the grade of the driveway at that area brought towards the right across past the front door. And as a result of that, there would need to be a retaining wall on at least the far side here
Do you understand this?
and here, which is not shown in the drawing. Currently, there's concrete here. This would need to extend down, extend over, and extend and end somewhere here as the grade transitions from this slope. In order that the parked car is at least a few feet lower on grade. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, no, I hadn't thought of that. But there is a grade change, right? From going up Angola to the house?
Here, can we see the upper right picture? Or upper
Where
left, I'm
the
sorry.
turnaround is past that significant drop. The idea was for it to be at the same level as the driveway, thereby not needing a retaining wall. The property would just slope right there, like it does now.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that. I mean, I'm not seeing it happen in that way based upon, can we slide back up on this one?
Everything gets so complicated. Do you want to say anything?
Abel, if you would please step away from the mic when you're, when you don't have the floor, because it's not appropriate. The location of this parking shows parking in an area where a grade change is required. So we need to please address that. I would suggest we get a cross-section of the site showing this site plan, showing the grade, and then we can make a determination.
Do you want to say anything?
Can I say one thing?
Yeah,
I think what you'll find when you see that is that the parking space, to what you're saying, with the cut-in, will actually be farther down towards the street. And it's pretty flat there. The hill actually starts
And then
after
it's
that and goes up.
Not drawn correctly.
It actually kind of goes,
thank you.
Yeah.
We actually see the pictures and we understand the drawings, and either what you're describing is not what's drawn, or what will be built is not what's drawn. So we need, you guys,
She wanted his name.
I understand, but we're in the middle of a discussion. The site plan needs to be, if what you are describing is what will be built, we need to see it on the site plan. We also need to see a cross-section. I have a feeling, looking at when, and I'll let Abby speak to this, but my concern would be that if this is moved closer to the street, it's atypical and inappropriate to have a turnaround that close to the street on Angola Street. So the mitigating factor for me was to lower it into the grade, and perhaps that would help. Anyone else have additional comments?
So they're not going to approve it.
Connie, Joe?
Went from consent to this.
So the turnaround is a concern for me, as it was expressed by Abby, about having a car park there. But if it's just a turnaround and no one's parking there, it's not as much of an issue, but I don't think that it should be any deeper than a car pulling in and pulling back out. So maybe it doesn't need to be that deep. But if you say that this is 42-foot elevation and that's 45 back in the corner, as you've stated, there's 3 feet of difference to make that level. So some sort of retaining seems to make sense along that back edge, as you suggest, as opposed to there.
Thank you. Val, please hold. Angus, Abby, Joe or Connie, any additional comments?
No.
Okay, thank you. So Angus, I just want to be really clear. We don't have the authority to determine the use of the space. So we can't say it can't be parking. It can only be a turnaround, just to be clear. Val, do you want to comment?
I do. Instead of holding it, can we then say we're going to continue the retaining if we need to contain that area of some grass? I mean,
So to answer the question, that if you need to, is a determination of whether you determine to change the grade or you determine to have that area be higher than it is. So it could be either. I think we need to make a determination as the authority having jurisdiction on what we think is appropriate. And then we can either do that now, which I have no concerns with, and do an Exhibit A, or we can ask for additional information. What would you like to do? I'm happy to do an Exhibit A showing the retaining wall and going along the extending, going along the backside, and extending as far forward as it needs to in order to retain the grade. When I say forward, I mean on the right-hand side, perpendicular to Angola.
I would like to make a motion to approve as submitted without the turnaround. I think that's where things get messy with right now, the driveway goes up to the garage and nothing's in front of the main body of the house. But this turnaround presents a parking space which would be inappropriate in front of the main body of the house. So that's my motion.
Okay, may I ask you to hold that for just a moment?
Of course.
Consider whether they can bring it back with more information, or you just want to vote this?
No, you can check.
Okay. Val, do you want to, and as opposed to have a vote on this now, hold for additional information and present on a section of the site and the stone retainage as it would be consistent with other comments? Or do you want just the driveway approved?
We'll take it without the turnaround and we'll turn around on the grass. Thank you. That's fine.
So on Angus's motion, Angus?
Aye.
On Angola
Abby?
Street.
Aye.
Connie?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay, so that is, Angus, you'll do that as an Exhibit A?
Sure.
Thank you.
I could do that one.
Okay,
That's easy.
with joy, we're moving
X.
on to
Oh, you're here.
22 Coffin Street, new business of August
Movie star.
23rd. A
Mr.
shed and a driveway revision.
Doesn't look like Elizabeth Churchill is in the audience or online.
Okay. So we're gonna hold that until 5:30. And we're gonna move on to, let me make a note. One Rosemary Way, do we have, Val Oliver.
Oh, yeah, this should have been on consent.
Okay, thank you, Val. Val, when you see the site plan, if you'd like to present.
This is a corner lot on the corner of Rosemary and Novadear Way, Farm Road. There's if you look, a hedge that's fully developed there. It's been there for a long time. This is a at-grade 10 by 16 deck on the front, by the front door, no railing, flat to grade.
Okay, thank you. Abby, you had this on, to review for consent. Do you have any comments?
No, I should have put this on consent, I'm sorry.
Okay, so this should have been on consent. Does anyone have any concerns with this?
Only that the hedge is maintained.
I don't think they want to see people either.
Yeah. So you're saying subject to visual screening, existing visual screening?
I'll make a motion to approve with the hedge staying where it is. Thank you.
Time of inspection and thereafter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, on your motion, Abby?
Aye.
Angus?
Aye.
Connie?
Aye.
And Carrie? Well, actually,
Aye, sorry, I didn't realize I was on this.
yeah, I might have misspoke.
No worries.
Won't be the last time. Okay, and I'm in favor too, so that carries, and Abby, you'll mark that up, please?
Sure.
Okay, now we are on, just like that, to 76 Goldfinch, Reno Driveway,
What am I gonna mark up?
or no, I'm sorry,
There's nothing to mark up.
yeah, Reno Driveway. Do we have an applicant's agent?
Yep, it's me.
I knew that. When you're ready.
So this is actually for two applications. One is for the driveway. It's brick right now with a center strip of shell or no, the center strip is gravel. And they'd like to just go all brick and add 3 or 4 feet to the east of it where the curb cut doesn't align. There's a red brick sidewalk and they'd like to just widen it a tiny, that's the existing. The next one there, adding that little strip to the east and getting rid of the gravel. The next application is for a porch. So the NAWSHOP Review Board has approved these changes, just so you're aware.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
The board will be regular members and Connie. Anyone?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm sorry, Carrie, I didn't quite understand. You're getting rid of the gravel.
Yeah, on this plan right here, the red markings in the middle in an oval shape, that's gravel. The
No,
rest-
I'm looking at the picture, yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm not looking at the picture on my screen. If somebody could scroll.
What would you, can you
There we
be
go.
specific, please? Thank you.
The gravel would become brick. That oval shape would probably go away, so it's all even. It's kind of hard to see. Oh, and then add 3 feet to the left from this picture. So it aligns with where the curb cut is. Right now, the curb cut, you drive in, and if you drive in straight, you'd land on the grass. But there's also a porch coming on the next application, so you will get an idea there. Does that answer your question, Val?
I think so.
And would you like to comment now?
I think if NAWSHOP's good with it, I'm good with it.
Okay, thank you. Abby,
I'm okay with it.
since you had this one for consent. Let's see. Angus,
Yeah, I mean, typically, a parking driveway wouldn't be appropriate in front of the door, but it's already there, and NAWSHOP is already good with it, so, yeah, I'm fine with it.
That's how all the houses
Okay.
are over there.
I think that leaves me. Okay with it. Connie, did you vote? I'm sorry.
I'm okay with it.
Connie, would you like to vote?
Yes, I'm okay with it. Thank you.
Excellent. Cool. Okay, I'm good with it too, so carries unanimously. On to the deck or the front porch.
Jared, do you want to make a vote?
Oh.
Do you want to make a vote?
Yeah.
A motion to approve is submitted.
I thought we just did a motion.
I didn't hear one.
I,
We did?
I think
I
we were
just
just
voted.
commenting.
I thought you made a motion, Val. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. So on the motion that Val didn't make and Angus made, we're all here, right? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Just regulated today. Okay, Carrie, please, new front porch.
Same elevation on the front of the house. They'd like to add a hip porch. There's a hip porch in the back, that they'd like to have a hip porch on the front. And again, Noshop has approved this, matching all the details of the existing. If you want to scroll to the front elevation drawing, that would show you from the street.
I'm happy to start.
Please.
I think this is just going to enhance the situation, so I'm in favor as submitted.
Thank you. Does anyone have any concerns with this?
No.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve is submitted.
Okay, we're gonna vote on a bona fide motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. I'm an aye, carries unanimously. And we are now on to 7 Folger.
Mr. Chair, I don't see anybody from APD.
Okay, 5:45, we'll hold till. And then you get back in line. 10 Marble Way. Is Chris here? Hey, Chris, good evening. How are you? How are you? You know, we're getting there.
New baby.
Stephen, can I sit off the Marble Way?
Yes, you may. We may end up taking a break during this one, just to make people aware. Okay, Chris, why don't you present, your board is gonna be Angus, not Abby, me, Val, not Ray, it'll be Carrie and
No, Joe?
Joe. Hold on a second. Carrie and Joe. Okay?
Sounds great. Forgot my glasses. So is this the? Okay, thank you. Sorry. All right. So this is, so it's lot 10. It's, there's a subdivided plan. It's quote unquote lot 1 on our sheet. This is a garage ADU. So the garage ADU and the next application, which is a duplex, there were 6 lots in total. This was a duplicate of what we were calling lot 5 on the plan. The only difference really is it's a reverse of, instead of having, we just kind of changed it, put the duplex in the back, garage in the front, as opposed to the other lot. It is 25 feet, 8 inches in height, 26 feet wide, 31 feet on the length. It's all black sash, gray foundation, natural to weather on the side, on the trim, and the garage doors are going to be natural to weather cedar. And let's see. And I kind of feel like that's about it on this one. Pretty self-explanatory. That's about 33 feet from the property line on the front.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Anyone? Again, Angus, Val, Connie, Joe, and myself.
Mr. Chair,
Yep,
it looks like you might have some abutters in the room.
yep. But I just, no questions, Val?
No.
Okay. Tori, good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Myself and a couple other neighbors are here tonight. I'll speak, and I'm not sure if they might want to add anything additionally. I'm speaking on behalf of number 5 and 7 Marble Way, in addition to some of our other surrounding neighborhoods. We are limited to the HGC public forum as citizens, as all development has been by right thus far on these 6 lots without our voices at public, planning board or otherwise. I'll spare you listing anything such as the applicant's disrespectful practices, disregard for bylaws, and multiple noise complaints. But the disregard for the architectural context of the neighborhood has really started to add up. The subdivision by right of these 3 original lots at Marble Way has created 6 new lots, as Chris mentioned. Now, as you may recall, thus far, 4 of the lots have been HGC approved for development and are currently under construction. Those HGC approvals have included a total of 11 dwellings, and in addition to 4 commercial spaces across just the first 4 lots. and this is already built. Now they're asking to add an additional 3 dwellings and an additional commercial space to that lot, to the additional 2 lots tonight. We as a neighborhood implore you as a board of review to do a site viewing to opine on the grossly overdeveloped lots thus far and inappropriate size and layout of the various duplexes plus garages throughout these initial lots before you consider any of the buildings before you this evening for review. In addition, the neighborhood has always been and continues to be primarily 1.5-story, single-family homes, Cape style and the like, on roughly 8,000 square foot lots average with just 1 home per lot, generally speaking. As you may recall, we as a neighborhood have taken every opportunity we can to speak at all meetings, and I'm joined tonight, as I mentioned, by others in the neighborhood. In your prior HDC approvals, there was mention of specific distances from front property lines to try and mitigate how overbuilt this all was. Unfortunately, these HDC-specific conditions were not met by the applicant in a few instances when excavating and staking foundations, and now construction and delivery of the prefab boxes has proceeded regardless of those missteps by the applicant and contractors. The prior HDC approvals also incorporated.
You can, that should start to wrap up.
Got it, yep. The prior HDC approvals also incorporated landscaping and limited parking details that we as a neighborhood do not currently see anything close to what was asked of the applicant. In closing, it's our opinion, it's imperative that before, as I mentioned, you take any time in the architectural review of design, character, and setting of the 3 applications before you this evening, that you take a significant look at the existing context of the neighborhood so that so that we can all avoid any further devastation of the neighborhood.
Thank you, Tori.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, board, you know who you are, who would like to begin?
I will.
Val.
I understand the concern of the neighbors, but I think this side of the street is commercial residential and the other side of the street is just residential. So that makes a significant difference. And I understand that. I did drive out there today and I think the buildings that are there are appropriate. If you look at some of the buildings that are highlighted in this application, they're much larger. It is a residential commercial area, so there's businesses running over there and they need housing for their employees. While that's not in our purview, nor is anything about the density, in terms of the structures itself, this is akin to a structure that is already built, and I feel like it's appropriate. The other thing I think it's important to remember is the guy is a landscaper, and I think you can hold him to task on that. He's gonna landscape this and appease his neighbors, so that's my 2 cents.
Okay, thanks, Val. I just want to point out that obviously if we're looking for visual mitigation, that we need to stipulate that and we need to discuss a hardscape plan in order to draw that into the process. Angus?
Yeah, I think I probably need to take a closer look at the neighborhood, but typically a garage in front of the main dwelling is not appropriate. The garage doors right facing the street wouldn't be appropriate. And so I feel like maybe I just need to take a closer look at what's there and be able to determine a little bit better the appropriateness of this. But just on the plan, it's not looking appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Carrie?
This was on my list, and the reasons that Angus just stated is why I didn't put it on consent. I think if the garage doors can be facing into the property and it be reduced a little bit in height, because it does seem quite large, right on the street there, that it's not a dwelling. If it can be made to look like a dwelling from the street, that would be better. Thanks.
Thank you. Let's see, Joe?
Yeah, I'm reading into this a little bit, but I'm assuming that the garage structure is out front to offer some variation versus all the houses being out front and the garages in the back, but I'm not sure if that's the case.
Joe, that was part of apologies, that was part of the consideration, just to have it look a little different than one of the opposing lots.
Okay. So I agree with everybody that's spoken so far. So feeling like I need to go out and become familiar with the neighborhood, more familiar. Definitely listened and sat on a couple of these when it got approved, and having the entire site plan, I think, is just helpful for any work that you're going to be doing in this neighborhood, so that we're seeing the big picture, even though we're weighing in on one particular lot. And I question the garage doors facing the street with the house in the back of the lot, per Angus's comments. But I also agree with Val that the owner will likely screen this from the street, and we could make that part of an approval. But I wouldn't feel comfortable approving this as is until I see what's been constructed so far. I mean, the structure itself seems fine. It's really just the garage doors facing the street, and it being a slightly, it feels a little too commercial to me to be looking right at a garage as you drive by something that's right on the street like that. But whereas having a house with a garage behind it would make it feel, more in tune with the residential neighborhood. So those are my thoughts.
I have another.
Thanks, Joe. Val?
I would suggest, Chris, we hold it for a view, which I guess a lot of people didn't do, because clearly if they did, they will see the context. So it'd be better off getting any comments until people have gone and looked at it.
I'm open to anything. And I know the applicant, he was going to show up. He just got caught in a meeting. He welcomed the view too, and can go through, I don't know how those work particularly, but he can show you he started to screen a couple of lots that preliminary landscaping that he's already done, and can hopefully show everybody what he's going to do. Obviously, it hasn't been done because it's an open construction site. But anyway, just figured I'd bring that.
Thank you, Chris. So
Thank you.
I'm of the mind we do need a view. I would like to have additional information. You previously provided, and I believe it was part of an approval, the streetscape of the structures. Let's supplement the information with that. And I would like to have, now that it's come up as a matter of due diligence, an attestation that the prior setback approvals, the locations of the structures, are in conformance with the HC approval, so we can address that one way or the other. But I think as a matter of diligence, that's important.
Is that just the survey? Like I get with Don Bracken and
I mean, your surveyor is going to be sending a surveyor the HCC drawings and say, hey, we presume these match because that's what we ordered, I presume.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, we want to have confirmation that they conform to the approval.
Easy enough.
Okay?
Yep.
Yeah, it should be a simple matter, but we want to.
That's fine. It's probably got to get put to
the
rest. Make
streetscape.
everyone happy.
If you want to put together a landscape plan that shows the streetscape site plan, a overall site plan of the structures that have been previously proposed and approved, what's being proposed now, the hardscape, the vegetative screening, and then the streetscape. I think that information in the packet, and then we go do a view, will be informative, and we can make a determination as to where we individually are and then as a group. Okay?
Sounds great.
Does anyone have a concern with that?
That's my motion.
I just wanted to add one clarification, if I could, through you, Mr. Chair. The picture presented, unfortunately, is not what it looks like, which, thank you for doing the site viewing and suggesting that will show you. That's all been completely wiped out. It's all cut down.
Okay, so that will inform us, and
Thank
that's
you.
where the landscape, the site, overall site plan with visual mitigation, vegetation will be helpful. So we have a motion on the floor. I want to get to it. Angus,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay. I would suggest that it would be beneficial to pick up the other two applications when we're gonna have the same discussions, and I think, how do I want to say this? I want to say it the way that's the clearest and most effective. The additional information we requested and the view will inform the opinion of the commissioners in making a determination of the other structures significantly enough, I think, one way or the other, that we should hold them and do them all together. Are you okay with that?
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So again, we'd be looking for that information. The motion's been made and approved, and then get it in by the submission deadline, and we'll get it on the docket. Okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you. So we don't need a motion to hold the other, why don't we do, we'll just track them. Do we need a motion on that, Kathy? No, I didn't think so.
Oh, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, I apologize. I just asked one question.
Yeah.
So then the next application is just a repeat of the duplex that we already did. So I'm not concerned about, I would just say like the architecture, for lack of better terms, of that one as much, and we'll have to go through placement, et cetera. The third application that's there, that's actually the owner's personal home. He's moving here. He's moving onto the lot. And I just didn't know if it made any sense to look at just the architecture of the building, or do you think just hold all three? And I'm happy to do that. I just figured I'd mention it.
If you want to proceed with it, I'm fine with it. If you don't think it's going to be beneficial for the commission, not necessarily beneficial for you, to have a view, then we can open it up and it'll be the same board. But we're going to take a break.
Okay. That's
10-minute
fine.
break.
We can hold, then we can just do it all together. That's okay.
sure?
Yeah, that's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. I can put my
You guys
kids
know
to
the
bed.
manufacturer, so I think you're not going to worry too much
Yeah,
about.
all good.
Okay, so we're going to break and we'll return at 5:40. Bittersweet. Let's see, 2 Bittersweet Lane, color change. George here.
Yes, sir.
Oh, George, that George.
I'm that George, yeah.
Welcome.
Good, bad, or indifferent, I guess.
No, always welcome. Everyone's welcome to HDC.
Great. 2 Bittersweet was a house that was originally approved on consent. We're just coming back for a color change on the window and doors, changing them from white to black, and the change on the trim from white to Quaker gray. We're just trying to soften the elevations a little bit by mitigating the colors, and that is pretty much it.
Thank you. Can we go to the site plan locus? Sorry to interrupt your dinner. The HTC land use planners do a spectacular job juggling dinner, files. No, there's no locus on the overall?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
that's
is a
what I want to
locus,
see.
yeah.
Sorry, I said the site plan.
So Bittersweet is a newly created road.
Okay, can we
over
zoom
near
in just a
Bartlett's
little bit?
Yard.
It's Mary Ann Stanton's.
Yeah, I just wanted people to have context for color. Okay, Abby, I believe you had this one. Do you want to comment?
Yeah, I have no problem with the color.
Okay, so given Abby has no concerns with the color, it's a regular board in Connie. Does anyone have any concerns?
I have a question
We
for
have a
George.
question.
Yeah,
George?
the doors are still white.
Yes, the application, there was the intent was for that to be black. There was an updated application that was submitted. It doesn't appear that got into your view packets. but
So it's
the-
going to be black.
That's correct.
The
Okay.
intention is black, so we can
No
modify that.
concerns, yeah.
Can we get a motion to to approve as submitted subject to modification of the application to include black as a color of the doors?
So moved.
On your motion, we're all here. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, George. Okay. 6 Fargo Way. Hey, good evening, Elizabeth.
Hello, how are you?
Welcome.
So 6 Fargo Way, it's for a pool. It's a very big site, and the pool is in the kind of the back corner. It's a dirt road off of Wellwinnet Road, so I don't think anybody ever goes down there except maybe for the next property.
Okay, and let's see, your board will be regular members and Carrie.
So, Stephen,
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah.
black doors.
hi, this was on mine, and I don't have a problem with the pool, but it was the fence that I was sort of in a quandary about. Just some more information on the height of the fence, the location. It was pretty, it looked very perimeter to me, and I feel like it's a little overkill in such a rural spot.
Okay, why don't we see if Elizabeth can address that?
It's surrounded by vegetation, so the fence is hidden in vegetation. There might be a little gate next to a building, the building is not part of this submission. I don't think it's fully designed yet. But the intent is that.
Carrie, I just want to confirm you can hear Elizabeth okay?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I think there were some photos. I don't know if you're gonna add vegetation. I don't know. I don't think there was a height noted. Just a little bit more information. Maybe it can just be clarified with Elizabeth.
Let me see if I can facilitate here. Elizabeth, are you saying that this is not something that's visible from the street except for perhaps a gate?
That's right.
Okay, so Carrie, would you, on your particular concern, which will probably be a concern of other members, be okay with the fence to be visually screened? Can we go so far as not visible at time of inspection thereafter, except for the gates?
That's right.
Okay.
Love to.
Any concerns with that?
Sure, I think there's some photos that show the fence, so that's good if we can hide it.
Okay, so you're good with the solution?
Yep.
Okay, just want to make sure I understood. Okay, does anyone else have any concerns?
No, as long as the fence
Isn't visible
is,
from the public?
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay. Can we get a motion to include a condition restriction on the application that the fence will not be visible at time of inspection or thereafter?
I'll make that motion.
gates accepted.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. On your motion,
Aye.
Angus,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. There you go, unanimous.
Thank you very much.
We are now on to 6 Hinckley driveway cattle grate.
Right, and Stephen, you happened to be at the site when I was there.
Okay, yeah.
Last time. So this, this grate would be going, it's not a road, it's like an access point for my client's driveway. And there was already like previous, like years ago, wire fencing and inside the shrubbery, so they're trying to protect their plants by putting a grate. And hopefully that will work, and if it doesn't work, maybe we'll come back for a driveway gate. But it's there, it's up on the upper right, on the right side, and Hinckley Lane is completely to the right of the drawing, and there's plenty of vegetation in between, so you really can't see that yet. You know, we included the photos, and I think
6 Hinckley.
maybe Stephen can even attest to that.
Okay, so your board is regular board and Joe? And who would like to begin?
I will.
Val?
No, we're not approving cattle grates. I don't care where they are.
Well, would you please condition that, not, if it's not visible, so if it's visible from a public or publicly traveled way? Because that's not, you know, we can only stay in our purview, that's all I'm trying to suggest. And I don't want you to appear to be prejudicial. because-
I'd rather have a gate.
Okay. Let's see, Joe?
Can I, it seems like we're moving towards a policy of no cattle grates, and this in a rural neighborhood, I would be okay with them. I think I need to see more context photos to understand. I mean, I've been down Hinckley, but I'd like to. Can you pass on me at the moment?
Sure. Can we scroll back down or zoom out a little bit to see the whole site plan? Okay, let's see, Angus?
Yeah. I think that's the issue, is having a cattle grate that is visible from a traveled way. And so, yes, this is off Hinckley, but it's on the way to, 5 other buildings in addition to this one. So it's a traveled way. And so if it were, around a corner that wasn't visible from that traveled way, I would be okay with it.
There's only one other home at the end of this lane. There's the buildings that you see here are all a part of this property.
Could you please scroll to the locust?
Good luck zooming in on that,
Oh, yeah.
just with our internet connection.
So what I'm seeing is a lot that's just this, but then there's this road, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings along that road. Are you saying that this is all one property? Because
No,
it looks like a separate
May
property.
my understanding is that's a driveway easement, it's not a publicly traveled way. It's not actually a road.
And it's only one property at the end there.
Yeah.
We have the two facing each other and then just one other property, that's it.
Just to clarify the understanding.
So it's a driveway off of
Driveway
Hinckley.
easement in order to facilitate access to the other units.
Well, then it's not visible from Hinckley. And so, in that case, I would be all right with that.
Yeah, that's where I'm landing now too, after hearing this, by the way, Joe speaking.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Let's see, who's left? Abby?
So I didn't quite understand that. So it's not directly off Hinckley, it's off a driveway that's,
Off of Hinckley.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
gosh, yeah, as much as I'm not in favor of these kind of grates,
Okay. So you've settled on a position?
Yeah, I mean, if this were right on Hinckley, I would say there's this, it's so close to Cliff Road, it doesn't go with the streetscape of Hinckley, I could go with that, but because it's,
So you're okay with it, Abby?
in one sense, yes.
Val?
What do these do?
They stop the deer from entering.
They stop them what, how?
Because you have,
Site plan? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
they, there are tubes, and they're uncomfortable walking across the tubes. And below the tubes is sort of a vault. And if you make it deep enough, they can't step through.
Did they get hurt?
No.
All right. So my feeling, my interpretation is that the locus plan is different than the site plan. And what I mean by that is the driveway access is closer to Hinckley. That's correct? The locus shows the driveway access further down the private easement than the site plan.
Possibly.
I'm not suggesting any.
Right,
just-
possibly, but there's a lot of vegetation and all of that,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what happens, can we zoom in on the site plan?
This is what I don't understand, there's somebody else on the line.
So the, can we go to the?
Which one do you want, this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you see,
Bigger?
yeah, it's kind of a,
Here.
so the driveway shown on the locus plan is almost like a straight shot here. So it's back here. This is closer to Hinckley. Hinckley's right up here. So my concern with respect to visibility, and I'm not gonna go too far down the poor deer path, but, is that this would be relocated to be inside the site here. Because I do believe this location is gonna be visible from Hinckley, especially given its proximity to the private easement and therefore, and also Hinckley. So I would want to have it moved into this area. And then I think the visibility issue is addressed. I'm concerned about them for different reasons, but they're not for the HDC purview. Deer, a hungry deer can leap 20 feet easy. So if there's a hungry deer, they're gonna get in all this lush landscape, but that is not our purview, and I will ask that you.
Yeah, and I would insist that this is really at the ground level, it's not something that's elevated or vertical, so if you happen to walk by Inkley and like perceive, a fraction of this, I don't think it's going to change your, opinion of Nantucket as a whole. So I would lean on the members that seem to be in favor of this application. I would hate to put this cattle grate in the middle of the property and then having, fencing grow through all of that. I think you would do a big disfavor to the site. So,
So you're suggesting the relocation is problematic?
yes.
Okay, just want to make sure I understand.
I think the chair has made a good point about the difference between what I was looking at in the locus plan, which shows the driveway entrance being much further away from Hinckley as it is in the site plan. So they aren't inconsistent. I was kind of basing it off of the big picture. And so,
But the pictures are accurate, that we just took those.
Yeah, Elizabeth, I think what we're trying to get to is, and you have no control over this, is the locus plan
Oh.
shows the prior driveway.
Oh, I see.
And the site plan shows what you're proposing
Yeah.
very clearly, graphically,
Yeah.
with no, it's no, there's no, you're showing us what you're proposing. But
And
there's
the driveway is where it's drawn now.
Yes.
It's not where it's on the locus, because that was
Yes.
part of a previous
And
application.
we're just identifying that
Right.
with respect to this application and other future applications with respect to visibility, that's problematic because the location that is proposed, which is based upon where the driveway actually is versus if it were shown, if it were gonna be where the driveway entrance used to be, is much more visible. So we're looking at not only this application, but future applications, and the visibility is a concern. A reasonable concern.
And for the record in this discussion, deer have killed one of my dogs.
Yes.
It happens, so, there's poor deer and there's also poor dogs. It does happen.
Actually, you mentioned that when I ran into you, and I didn't comment how I wanted to, and I'll follow up on that separately, because it's not on my mind.
I'm happy to make a motion if we're at that stage.
Well, I just want to see if there's any other discussion based upon the location of the driveway relative to Hinckley before we motion. Joe or Abby? Okay. Angus, what's your, Elizabeth, are you, you're saying a relocation is problematic. If that's the case and a motion were made to approve subject to the relocation, would you prefer to have an opportunity to confer with your client and come back?
We had already discussed it. I don't think that's something that they wanted.
Okay, I wasn't gonna have us vote for an approval if you needed to be able to confer
Yeah.
with them. Approval being a relocation where I think this is going.
Well, wait, he haven't made the motion yet, so I
Okay,
don't know
well,
what
let's
it
see what he
is.
says.
So my motion is to approve the cattle grate, but move it back to here so that there won't be visibility of it from Hinckley Lane. So it would have to be about there, and I would do an Exhibit A for that.
We have a fortune teller in the family. So are you, would you like to reconsider and have an opportunity?
Yeah, no one else wants to make a motion to approve
Well,
this
we have
application as submitted?
Wait just a second. We have a motion on the floor, and we're gonna vote it. And I'm just asking if that outcome is acceptable to you, because if we vote it in, then it's approved.
I cannot say it's acceptable.
Okay, so do you want an opportunity to review alternatives and come back to us?
Well, I kind of heard that Abby was maybe okay with this application and Joe was okay with this
Okay,
application.
I'm gonna let it run. I don't think it's gonna go where you're thinking,
No.
but I could be wrong, and if I am, I'm happy to have been wrong, and we can proceed. I'm just trying to read the room and have you understand that if you get an approval, you have an approval. If you don't get, let's do the vote. On your motion, Angus.
Aye.
Abby?
That's where we move it back into this, yes, I'm an aye.
Okay. Val?
No,
Okay.
together.
And you're no on the cattle grade
Yeah.
period? Okay. Joe?
I'm a no.
Joe's a no, and I'm an aye. So that would be an approval.
All right, so,
Or in this multiverse where we're gonna rewind the tape, would you like to have that be a motion to make modifications?
well, I would like to maybe make modifications.
Angus?
I would
you-
like to change my motion to hold for revisions.
Thank you. Trust me, I
Yes.
understand the process. I can read the room pretty well. On your motion, Angus?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
Val?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay,
Okay, thank you very much.
thank you.
How deep is it?
I think it's about 20 feet.
Yeah, that's big, like it could
Yeah.
even move back to there.
Okay. Things unfold in their own time. Let's keep that in mind, folks. 1737 Squam Road, bifocals are necessary. Good evening, Ethan.
Good evening. Ethan Griffin, behalf of the applicant. This is Fraser's Studio. Technically, it's a sort of gym studio structure. This is replacing a gym that was approved on consent to be moved off demoed. The main component, other than gym though, is enclosed paddle or padel court. So that's the most sort of substantial part of this structure. So it'll come up soon. The site, although large, is fairly limited in terms of placement due to wetlands. This essentially is in the place of the existing gym, adjacent to an existing tennis court. The main level of this facility is at the level of the tennis court, which is about 4.5 feet below grade. And so we've really, tried to make an effort to sort of disguise what otherwise a fairly large structure. Some site sections is this first page. It's loading slowly, which I apologize for. We did try to optimize the file size.
It's our newfangled
It
system.
looks like this, it's just trees. Oh, there we go, all right. So this is back towards Squam Road. The main house is up towards the front of the property. You're seeing a section cut through the tennis court elevation, which again is about 4.5 feet below grade. And then the side that's cutting through the building, that is as if, parallel with Squam Road. So you can see the two sort of elevations, and as it compares to existing structures that are adjacent to it, there's an existing garage structure and then existing cottage that are also in the vicinity of the structure on the site.
Thank you. The board is Angus, Abby, me, Val, and Carrie. And who'd like to begin? Oh, any questions?
If there aren't any questions, I can begin because it was on my consent list.
Yes,
And
but hold on one second.
Yeah.
Carrie, any questions?
Not at the moment, thank you.
Okay, cool. Angus, please begin.
so my concern was the overall scale of the building and proximity to the road. And if it's going to be a barn, then I think the windows, the fenestration needs to represent that more. So like instead of double hung windows being more like a casement or awning, six light, or, something that would be more agrarian. And probably no dormers, or dormers that are basically the size of a window and to be sheds instead of gables that are, I think, complicating it more. And maybe even a shallower pitch. It's already a shallower pitch than the structure that's there. So those are my concerns. Thanks.
Thanks. Abby?
I have similar concerns about the scale of this building so close to the road. So, thank you.
Thanks, Val.
Yeah, I agree. But I also agree, like Angus, if it's a barn and it looks like a barn, then I think it'd be all right. The back piece, we probably won't see with the, oh, sorry, I have my thing on. The little part of the building that's connected by all the glass, with the oversized dormer and then the little cupola on top. If we don't see that, I guess it's not a concern, but if you do, it is a concern.
And just to be clear, if I may, because I know the elevations aren't up on the screen, that mass is essentially matching the mass that it's next to. So the massing is derived from the garage mass that already exists, which you can see on another sheet. You guys can scroll probably on your iPads, but.
Right, okay, thank you. Let's see, Carrie?
I agree with Angus 100%. I think mostly on the front structure, I think the dormers are not appropriate. I think the fenestration is not appropriate. I think if it can read more like a barn structure, I'm not concerned about the area to the east, that there's tons of fenestration on that connector piece, but I don't think we'll see it. So I just think simplify the main mass.
Okay, thank you. Abby, I'm sorry, did you?
Yes, no,
You did.
I agreed with what's been said.
Okay, and I agree with what's been said. If it's not gonna go to a barn structure with greater simplification and no dormers, the primary mass, I think it needs to be lassoed and scale brought down 75% across the board, except for the fenestration. It's just really, really large. And then if the other structure, I'd wanna do a view with maybe some staking or something. Ethan, that structure with the gable and the cupola and the size of the window and everything, it's just so, it's actually an interesting design, but it's so atypical that I would want to have 110,000% certainty that we're never going to see that.
We could absolutely put poles up.
Okay. So I think we're going to get a motion to hold for revision and some polls for where the smaller portion structure, the smaller of the two structure, sections of the structure is, the, being the portion that has the cupola? Val?
You don't want it on the big building, which is closer to the street?
I'm either, for me, no, because that barn is either, it's either gonna be a barn and then it's gonna be acceptable, or it's gonna be downsized significantly and it's not gonna matter to me. We can have them stake that too.
I think
would
those
like.
ridges need to be done.
Yeah, so why don't we stake the ridge, the gable ends of the large structure and the cupola center of the smaller structure, portion of the structure. Is that acceptable to you guys?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, good. And that'll be included in a motion for revisions. Carrie, is that your motion?
Yes, motion for revisions and ridge poles, please.
Okay, thanks so much. On your motion,
Aye.
Abby,
I'm an aye.
Angus,
Aye.
Dale,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay, Ethan.
Out of court.
Your next is 1 Westchester Extension Addition.
Yes. So this is that large house that's right past the animal hospital, kind of down that little dirt road. I'm sure everyone's probably seen it more from Nantucket Road, I guess. It's got the big red barn on the side, the opposite side of where we're proposing this one-story addition. Again, it's a one-story addition. There is an existing parking area and curb cut, which is being eliminated. So it's really all going to be enclosed by a pretty sizable existing hedge that's there. I imagine most of the visibility is pretty limited, but look forward to your comments.
Thanks. Questions for Ethan? Okay.
This is for the barn?
This is on the opposite side of the barn.
Okay.
The
That's
barn's on
Val for the
west.
minutes. Anything else, Val? Okay. Mary, did your group have anything? No? Okay. All right, so Angus, Abby, me, Val, and Connie. Who'd like to begin? Angus.
I didn't have any concerns. This was on a consent list. And
I
you
had
had
it.
pulled it, so I was kind of curious why.
Yeah, so can we go to the elevations?
Because it's ginormous?
I just thought.
Yeah, so this is the existing elevation, just so, this was approved last time at HCC. They didn't actually wind up building any of this, but essentially they were gonna do a full exposed story at grade level, so that didn't
Right.
move forward.
And can we go to the proposed? I thought that there was just enough complexity and that it should be viewed, and I was a little concerned about the visibility of the pane glass triple French sliders, so I wanted to have Ethan comment on that. So those were my potential concerns. Ethan, those doors are in this, would be in
The lower
structure, the
photo
lower
that you
right
see
corner.
there, yeah, I mean, I don't even know, they must have taken that from like the swamp. That's not even like a road.
It's
that
not a
photo's from.
visible location?
Yeah.
Okay, so
there's
my
no way.
concerns were about potential visibility of that and just the complexity of the structure overall. I figured I'd run it by you guys. Ethan has addressed my concern.
So I'll continue. And so due to lack of visibility, I don't have a concern.
Okay. Does anyone have a concern with the additional information we've been provided? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve is submitted.
Including that those window doors would not be visible at time of inspection or thereafter?
All that.
Okay, we got burned once. I'm not suggesting you do that, but it was pretty bad. Chicago commercial and Tom Nevers. No more need be said. Okay, Ethan, did I do a vote on that?
No.
I did not. Angus, on your motion?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
Val?
Aye.
Connie?
Aye.
Oh, and me. Could have done it all in favor. All right,
Thank you.
we are on to 54 Union Street. Oh, no, 1 Baird Farm Road. Val Oliver.
I don't know why, just, okay.
Okay, this is pretty straightforward. This house is right on the bike path on Nantucket Road, but in between the bike path and Nantucket Road is also vegetation, so we're 2 layers in, and it's very close to this house, and they just want a section of fence to give some privacy to the backyard. It's a stockade fence that will be natural to weather. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Again, Angus, Abby, me, not again, Joe, and
So,
Carrie.
yeah, I'd just say look at where it is in proximity to the road.
Does anyone have any concerns? Well,
I
Abby, did you have this on yours?
don't know, I was just looking to see,
Ray,
but I can go first if you want.
please.
So I don't have any concerns, especially if there's vegetation from the bicycle path.
Okay. Does anyone have any concerns?
No.
Does anyone have a motion, please?
Motion to approve as submitted.
Thank you for jumping in there, Joe. On your motion.
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
Abby,
I'm an aye.
Angus.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Carries unanimously. We're on to 54R Union Street.
Okay. So we were so happy with our previous approval, turning this garage into a house, only to find out we cannot use the first floor as habitable space, given it's in the flood area. And obviously, if we give up the first floor space, then we have a little apartment above, which will need 2 egress. So we put 1 inside, or we kept the interior staircase. The rest of the first floor is going to remain garage. And as a result, we need a second egress from the second floor. We did make some modifications to the windows and doors. We took out doors and put windows in instead. I'm proposing to bring the little pent roof across the front, which I think was a suggestion of you guys when it was a house. Now we're thinking that might look nice over the door and the garage door. And keep in mind, the garage door is behind the structure on the street, so it's oblique. And what we're proposing is a circular staircase from the deck above, and screening it with some lattice and vegetation is our second means of egress. I think that's the least invasive on the project, as opposed to a big staircase that will come down and switch back. And that is our unfortunate circumstance, but we think our solution is good,
Thank you, Val.
given where it's going to be on the site.
Okay, thanks. Questions?
I have a question.
Abby?
Where do you start at the top of that circular, is that inset into the porch?
What's
Or
that?
The circular staircase?
If you look at the floor plan, it's in the back of that porch area, but we're gonna screen obviously the front as well. And the corner, we're happy to vegetate as opposed to lattice. We could also, if we needed to, not really wanting to.
Val,
but-
can I interrupt for
Okay.
a second? Are
Yeah.
you saying it won't be visible time inspection or thereafter?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Abby, any other questions?
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yep, sure. No, that's my job. Mary?
You can come over here.
Mickey Rowland, Jason Finger, Mary Bergman, Marcia Fader. Just wondering if there were any other, if there's anything like this in the OHD, any other, sorry, I shouldn't go off script. Didn't seem like there were any other, not many, if any, precedents in the OHD. So do you see examples of anything like this? Sorry. Within the OHD.
It's late.
To Mary, do you mean this, the proposed staircase or the original, the architectural drawing?
The proposed staircase, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if Val can give us specifics. I know as a building inspector, I've seen several spiral staircases in much more visible locations. I don't know that they were approved, but and I have to presume that some of them were.
That's what we should have done. No.
Yes. I mean, I'm not to flavor it one way or the other, but I mean, I don't know who else is going to be able to comment on that. Okay, we got Mary. We identified a board, and I'd like to get comments. Angus?
Yeah, I mean, if it's not visible in perpetuity, then, yeah. I mean, yeah, I wasn't in favor of the alterations, but that's already through. So this is, yeah, if this isn't visible, I don't have an issue with it.
Okay. I just want to identify the board. It's myself, Abby, Angus, let's see, Joe, and Connie. Who would like to go next?
And I would refer you to the photos I took from different points looking at.
Thank you for the reference. Joe?
I have no concerns if it's, I mean, it's screened, it's on the back. I think it's appropriate.
Okay, thanks. Connie?
No concerns. Thank you.
And Abby, did I ask you?
No, but I don't have a concern.
Val, my only concern, can we go to the elevation showing the garage doors, is given the introduction of the garage doors, which have more of a bungalow style, is that the 9-light door or the 4-light door looks,
Out of place?
something doesn't look right, and I would prefer to, if possible, simplify the garage doors as opposed to change the entry door to a bungalow style, because then it's gonna look like you got 3 entry doors and 2 of them are, and one set of them is ganged. It'll look odd, I think, if that's a bungalow style. So do you have a suggestion on what would work with your program?
You know what? We can make them for right now. Well, the existing doors are 4-light, but I didn't think because those were square panes, they're on a photo up above, they would match. We could do solid doors for now and come back when we figured out what the doors are, so we could go to the Concom and
That would be
ZBA
wonderful.
and get going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of addresses the issue, and then we can take up that fenestration package
Right.
for those 2 openings later.
I think that, sorry,
Abby?
yes, thank you. I think that's a good idea because there's a lot going on now that we've got 3 different types of windows on the first floor. And if those were just boards, I think it would just melt away. So I'll make a motion to approve with the doors going to just like,
Batten?
yeah, batten doors,
Exhibit A.
natural to weather, Exhibit A.
Okay, thanks so much. On your motion,
Aye.
Angus?
Nay.
I'm sorry?
Nay, I was focused on the stair and not really on these garage doors where the rest of it's looking like a house and a garage door in the front. So,
Okay.
yeah, no.
Yeah, and they'll have an opportunity to change that. Connie?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Yeah, a garage door doesn't always have to look like a garage door. It can also look like a set of windows.
Right.
So be creative when you come back. Okay, we're gonna move on
But for
to-
now, just Batten.
Yeah, it's
correct?
just Batten.
Okay, thank you.
We're gonna move on to 4 North Water Street. Good evening, Matt. Oh, we're gonna have to make this one quick. I just lined through it. Whoops. All right, Matt, your board is the regular members, me, Abby, Angus, Vale, and Carrie. Our- One of our
I'll do
esteemed
the-
alternates.
All I have to do is,
One of our esteemed associates,
thank you.
planning board are alternates. Why they're called different things, I don't know.
What's that? Yeah, praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Matt?
So thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is a project that you've seen previously. I'm just going to try to zoom out. And so we're here, so we've done exploratory demo of the interior of the structure. And that has revealed that some portions of the structure are not, in our opinion, original to the 1887 period that's referenced. And so the two things we're looking to do is to replace, like kind, if you will, the massing that you've approved. But because the framing is not original, we want to just replace it because it's going to make certain things easier. Anything that has been identified as being original, we're planning to keep. In addition, we're looking to bump out 2 areas of the existing footprint. So my thought was to just walk you through the 2 footprint expansions. So let me start with just to kind of give you your bearings on the site. This is the rear section of 4 North Water that was at one point separate, but added at a later date. Let me just keep going here. So, sorry, this is taking a while to load. Okay, so the 2 areas that we're looking to expand are towards the rear, towards the west. So this is in the back, and again, these are all 1-story additions. What we try to do is look at the existing elevations and the massing schematic, if you will, and then do additions that were not dramatic departures. So truthfully, if you looked at it before and after, they're same profiles, same pitches, same heights, et cetera, et cetera. And so those areas are here, if you guys can see my cursor, and the infill section here. So I'll just scroll through those elevations. So again, it's this zone, and this infill piece here. Obviously, the roof lines are a reflection of structures that had been cobbled together literally. It's high Gothic style structure. It's also been called Carpenter Gothic, but I think it's actually a bit more sophisticated than that. And the rear has a specific separate language. Anyways, so just scrolling through the elevations to show you what the changes are. But again, these are 1-story existing pieces that we're just looking to expand slightly. So in the east elevation, which is probably the most visible from the public way, we're essentially infilling a connector piece, if you will. I don't know why this is taking so long to load. But that's the section here that's clouded. On the rear of the building, these were 2 bump outs that you had actually given us the approval to add. We changed the footprint slightly to accommodate an accessible bath and just make a little bit of a vestibule so that you weren't walking out directly into the common space from the bathroom. And then I'd say this is probably the most dramatic change, which is on the west elevation, which faces directly towards the back of the property. Again, I don't think this is really visible from any public way. If I could go beyond my time.
Yeah, Matt, that's your signal to start wrapping it up.
Yep, I'll donate money to the Boys and Girls Club.
Nice.
It's an Emmys reference. So just the framing. So these photographs, so you can see here with this newer framing, this, in my opinion, would not date from 1887. Clearly, this section over here does look like it's original. And the section that's actually behind us in the photograph, we're not proposing to alter at all because it is clearly original. But when we revealed the framing and the demolition, it was pretty clear that these sections were not original. And so therefore, we'd like the opportunity just to reframe them fresh. So with that, look forward to comments from the board, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Excellent. Questions for Matt?
My question was going to be about the age of the areas that are getting expanded, and I appreciate the additional information that the obviously older areas of infrastructure are being retained, and so that I think answers my question.
Thank you. Mary, do you guys have anything? No? The board, again, Angus, Abby, me, Val, and Carrie, does anyone have any concerns with this?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I'm a little bit confused as to why they need to take this apart and rebuild. It all looks like it's in pretty darn good shape. And I understand you're adding to it, so some of it will go away in the expansion that you're talking about, but I'm not sure. Like, are you taking it apart because the plates are coming up higher or the roof pitches are changing with the expansion that you're talking about today? I'm just a little bit confused as to why you need to demo this, even though it's, not necessarily historic, it's there and useful. So,
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
So the roof pitches are not changing. We are planning to elevate the plate, basically keep the roof system in place, elevate it by, I think, about 10 inches, and we do need to pour a new foundation. It is a crawl. It's actually a slab on grade, actually. The original 4 North Water site foundation is not being touched, but we need to replace the foundation. And so the exercise of lifting this piece or this section with the additional framing changes we want to make at the plate just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If it was historic, we'd lift it, but because it's not.
so do you have a demo plan of the specific parts you're getting rid of and rebuilding?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in there.
If that's included, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. All right, so are there any concerns? There were no other concerns. Angus addressed my concern that Matt addressed, that I noticed in the photos. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve is submitted.
Okay, and let's see, on your motion,
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
Val?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. All right, Matt.
Thank you.
14, how do we say this word?
Tatimo.
Tautimo. Taut.
So with your permission, Mr. Chair. I'll
Yeah,
begin.
please.
So this
Like
is
lightning.
an application for a color change. So this is 14 Tatimo. 12 Tatimo is next door, and it's actually owned by the same property owner. That trim color schematic for 12 Tatimo is white sash, white trim. We had requested and were granted approval for basically the shed and bathhouse. They're one-story structures. They're in the process of framing them. They got the pool deck in last spring, held off for the summer. They started back up again. Working with a design team from Boston, they asked the question, is it possible to have them have the same color scheme? Because even though they are separate properties, it would be nice if they communicated. And so we're here before you to ask to change the trim color only to white. The existing window colors that are approved are the Terratone, or sometimes it's referred to as gray, but it's really Terratone if you're familiar with the Anderson color. So it's really just changed the rakes and window door trim to white. I think the plan is eventually to replace the windows to be white as well, but seeing how they're fairly new, it's not something we're going to do right out of the gate. So we're here before you to seek permission to change the trim to white. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Matt.
I had this.
Val?
And the reason I didn't put it on consent is the yellow doors.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't align that with the house that's there. The little house is all natural to weather. Is that changing trim as well?
I think that will be before you for that as well. Yeah.
Okay, because that, I was like, that's natural to weather. The white trim is there.
Yeah.
That wasn't a problem. It's the yellow doors, and it's not like it's a front door, it's shed doors and a,
Yeah. I can,
and I went out there today and it's very visible.
mhm.
It's right close to the street.
If helpful, I could hold or omit the yellow door change perhaps, or I could hold it to see if there's any alternatives for the client.
Has anybody ever seen yellow doors anywhere other than like somebody's front door?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Where?
all over the
All
place,
over the
Main
place.
Street yellow. they call
Yeah.
it.
Out here with this
Yeah.
rural, yeah, just,
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's cottagey.
you guys can approve it.
So could I go?
yeah, please.
Because I had a question about the combination of, you say the sash is cobblestone, the trim is going to be white,
and the door's yellow.
Yeah, this is what I got confused. The trim is white and the sash is cobblestone?
Yeah, it's, yes, it's an existing, it's actually Terratone, but it's not like an approved HTC color, so the closest match is the cobblestone.
That I find odder than the yellow doors.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen a sash and trim combo like that, but.
Angus?
This was previously approved as natural to weather.
Correct.
Which I think works much better in the setting than the white. The buildings were kind of a little bit unusual instead of being one building, but I remember a ground cover issue and needing to have two separate things and so I wouldn't be in favor of the white. I think the natural to weather is better for the outline of it. I don't really have as much of an issue about the yellow door as I do about the overall trim of the outline. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Abby. I think that's going to look a little odd. And I can go either way on the yellow doors. Thank you.
What was the gray again?
It's Terratone, it's Anderson Terratone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm okay with it. It's, the Anderson Terratone, it litters, and I use that word not
Appropriately.
but it's accurate. It's everywhere, and there's white trim, and there's natural to weather, and I agree. I think a natural to weather with the Terratone would be more appropriate, and I don't think either way the yellow door is affected by it. I do understand Vale's comment, but there's, I do see yellow doors in different areas, and so I'd be okay with it. So
It's just that the house right next to it is all natural to weather with Terratone windows. And this is going to white.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I'm just
No,
of
could
a
I-
mind
could I
that, they're not like on Prospect Street where there's three homes next to each other that are the same and the colors are different. Like, I'm okay with the colors as proposed, given now I understand that the sash is not a painted sash, it's an Anderson window Terratone color that comes, that's how they are all over the island. I do think natural to weather trim would be better, but the white is not inappropriate in my mind. Abby?
Just to Val's point, I was thinking of yellow doors being like front doors, panel doors, but these are French, like paned.
And shed.
So that is odd. I'd forgotten that.
But Matt, will you please speak to the visibility of these?
Yeah, so those
Like,
French
we're
doors-
kind of losing track of
Yeah,
some
they're-
details here.
The doors themselves face away from the road, so they face towards the back of the property, so I don't think you would ever be able to see those French doors.
Yeah. I'm just trying to keep us focused on what.
If I could add one other thing, Mr. Chair, I think the overall goal is to eventually have everything be white sash, white trim. It's just at the moment, they're trying to
You're
figure
saying
out
as
the best.
windows are changed out in the future?
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds like it's going to be all white eventually.
Sounds like we can maybe make that a wish on the motion. What do we want to do, folks? This is taking up a lot of time.
I would make a motion to approve the yellow doors, but if the desire is to go to paint from natural to weather, then my motion would be to do a Quaker gray or a cobblestone gray or some kind of gray paint.
How about the platinum gray?
It reads as white.
That's why I suggested it.
Of course.
Could, just to, in the interest of moving this along, could I bring some of this information back to the owner?
Yeah.
Come up with a strategy,
Yeah.
and hopefully
So
we'll be
pick
back
this
next
up,
week,
get
old business,
refreshed.
because you
Why
guys
don't
are
come
so
back
caught
at the
up.
beginning of next week so we can have this done?
Thank
Because there's
you.
nothing to submit other
Yeah.
than.
and I
I'll make a
understand it
motion
is-
to hold until next week.
Thank you. Thank you. I know it's a
Thank you, Matt.
bunch of moving parts.
So they come to their
Okay,
senses.
we are now on to the outbuilding color change. That's gonna be the same.
Are
20 First Way.
are we going to vote on the motion?
Yeah, I suppose we should.
Or I could request to hold the application.
No, it's fine. On the motion, Angus,
Aye.
Abby,
All right.
Val, Connie.
Aye.
All right. Sorry, guys, I'm fading fast.
Yeah,
Thank you.
me too.
Seven.
Matt, we're gonna hold the other one, 21st Way. I just want to make an announcement. Numbers 28 through 32. So 5 applications, guys, I guess, Abby, 5 applications at the end will be held. So our agenda got much shorter. I'm not suggesting that should inform the speed at which you work, but it is relevant to the evening.
Where are we now? 20?
9 no-bid-ers are off. We are on number 20, so that means we have 7 applications to process. And I would
Okay,
just
let's
ask that
pull
we
it together.
stay focused since we all seem to be fading. Good evening. How you doing?
I'm excellent. You?
Good, thanks. Step close to the mic. You're Tom?
Yes.
Okay, so the applicant is the agent. Welcome to the HCC.
Thank you very much.
21st Way rooftop solar. Can we see the site plan, please? And the locus? Okay. Tom, you want to comment?
Well, obviously, I'm looking to put up solar panels on my roof. My neighbor is the hockey rink, which is basically a solar array, a major solar array, something to compare my roof to. I would like to maximize the south-facing roof and the lower west-facing shed porch. That's my intention.
And I just want to be clear, so the public road is First Way, the front of the house is oriented more than 90 degrees at an obtuse angle from the front, from First Way?
You cannot see the house from First Way, it's all screened.
Okay. Okay, so that's where we are with that, and the board is myself, Abby, Angus, Vale, and Carrie. And who'd like to begin?
It was on my consent list, so I'm happy to
Angus,
start.
please. Yep.
So here, our guidelines say not to put the solar on the front of the house, but the front, as you just pointed out, is not facing the street. And what it's facing is a huge solar array next door. So I didn't want to just put it on consent without, voicing that in a meeting, but I think all things considered, this is approvable.
Okay, thanks. Does anyone have concerns with this?
I just want to make a comment.
Yeah.
That somebody on the same street came to us probably about a year ago to put it on the front of their house, and we said no, and they used the rink as a example too, so there should be some sort of caveat.
Thank you, and I'm going to address that because there was definitely a difference in the scenario. Anyone else comments? Okay, so my comments are along the lines of what Angus said, but I want to put a finer point on it. The front is not facing the street, not visible from the street, and not in proximity to the street. And therefore, and located next to what amounts to a commercial building with a solar array on it. The one that Val mentioned, if I recall correctly, was oriented such that,
Sideways.
so that you could see the solar from the street. So I believe that's why that wasn't approved. So those are my thoughts and my comment just for the record. Otherwise, what do we want to do? And if we make a motion, I'd like to have it include, if it's a motion for approval, that it's an exception to the rule based on the front not facing the street, not being visible from the street, not in proximity to the street.
All that.
Okay.
Yep.
But it is visible.
Not the front of it. That's from the,
That's the front. You come in the other way.
but that's not First Way, is it? That's the
It's
parking
the-
lot at the ice rink.
It comes in around from this,
But that's the parking lot at the ice rink.
okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, the parking lot on, isn't a purview.
There's the rink and
the
there's the
elementary
house.
school.
It's the parking lot to the elementary.
Yeah, it's the parking lot is the point. So, Okay, yeah, I mean, it's a parking lot, it's not a way.
But it's still the front.
Okay. If we're gonna have discussion about consistency, we need to have a discussion about consistency and open the floodgates, because there are proclivities that various members have, and they want to be consistent about certain things, but not consistent about their own proclivities. So let's have a discussion about that at some point, because we can't pick and choose. And I'm not targeting you, I'm saying period. As a board, if we're gonna be consistent, we need to be consistent. And it can't be, I want to be consistent about one topic, but not consistent about another topic. So if we want to have the discussion, I'm just highlighting, we need to have that discussion. Otherwise, we should just voice our own opinion and not try to persuade other people. What is the motion?
As you stated, that
Prior
approve
stated.
as submitted, but
Not facing the street, not visible from the public way, and not in proximity to the public way.
that's correct.
Okay, thank you. And that's your motion, Angus?
It is.
And on your motion?
Aye.
And Abby?
Aye.
And Val?
Nope.
And
Aye.
Carrie? Carrie's an aye. And I am an aye, and the record reflect Val is a no. And we are on to, you're all set.
Thank you.
8 Lily Street, Sconset. Matt?
Oh, God, this is a tough one.
Hey, get back here.
Partial demo existing.
Hey, Matt, while you're queuing up, I just want to point out I really appreciate everyone is doing a great job, and every one of these signed is not coming back as an old business, and we've signed a lot of approvals tonight.
I would second that, just because it's really great to be able to submit something and have it be heard within like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time. It's been years, so
And we're not,
Thank you.
and we're still processing a pretty high volume of work.
it's awesome.
Okay,
Okay.
Matt, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is a request for a partial demolition of a garage on 8 Lily Street. 8 Lily and 6 Lily are actually owned by the same property owner. And it's our intention to merge the two properties. This garage dates from 1987, and we're looking to just remove this intersecting gable, if you will. And there'll be no additional windows or doors on the side that will be exposed, but yeah, so it's fairly straightforward.
Okay, thanks. Any questions?
Yeah,
Abby?
sorry. So what's just left is just the garage gable forward?
Correct. Garage bay, no windows or doors added.
Thank you.
So I had these on consent, and I just felt that they were, it just seemed to me that there may be questions better answered here than putting on consent, having it pulled, and have questions answered, and then we vote on it. So I didn't have a material concern so much as wanting to not be in the middle of making a mess. Angus?
So, I mean, in general, we don't have a blank wall. So if there's going to be it would be one thing if it were just a continuous shed. But if the gable, is the gable return not happening, or is the gable still there through the
Gable
term?
return just goes away, so it's just, it'll just, the resulting,
So it'd just be a long shed.
correct.
And you answered my question about the date, but I don't have a concern except to put the date on the COA, on the application of the 1987.
Sure, you can do that.
That's all, thank you.
Thank you. Joe, you're going to be on this one with the regular board.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, I try and announce that at the beginning. I know I missed a couple, maybe one or two here or there. Joe, you want to go?
Sure. I have no concerns given the age.
Okay. Does anyone have any concerns?
Is it not 1938?
That's 2025.
Uh,
Sorry.
Says 87.
Oh, the survey says 1938.
But the survey is of a structure, not of the structure Matt's proposing. Is that what you're asserting, Matt?
Yes, I mean, again, both from the owner and the property card, it says 87. I don't know where 38's coming from.
Ollie,
Yeah, where we could check with home.
and a survey attached.
Right, but didn't she's identifying there was a structure there.
Yeah, I don't think this was it. I think this particular, even this addition, because it basically is like a bathroom addition.
I'm sorry, Mary, did your group have anything on this? Okay. Does anyone else have comments? And if not, do we have a motion? Okay.
I would make a motion, but I'm just still a little bit concerned about there not being anything, any kind of fenestration, door or window or anything on that.
I would like to remind you, as the authority having jurisdiction, you can ask for that. You can request it.
Well, I would approve as submitted, if there's a two 6-light sash, just sort of split in thirds on that east elevation.
Could do that. We can provide a drawing.
How about Exhibit A?
Yeah, I'm not sure, do we have a plan of, I'm not sure we've got an elevation of that.
We didn't, just because we figured it was so.
All right, so why don't we do a narrative subject to a modified drawing? Can we do that? You good with that? There isn't an actual elevation to mark up. So we'll write it up as a restriction condition to include
Two 6-light
the
windows.
description of what's required and that he submits a supplemental drawing.
It's like
Okay.
something, yeah.
Angus, is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay, so on your motion,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Val,
No,
and Joe.
Aye.
Okay, so 4 in favor, record reflect, Val is a no. Now we're gonna move on to 6 Lily Street.
That was 8. Okay, with your permission, Mr. Chair, I can
Yep.
run through it.
Please.
So this is two things, an addition and a move on site to an Underhill cottage. We've worked on a few of them. We did 5 Evelyn Street, who's directly behind this one over the years, and for what it's worth, huge fan of the Underhill cottages and their architectural language and how important they are. And I'm just a huge fan. So with that, like I said, 6 and 8 Lily are intended to be merged. They are held in common ownership. We had been here before, probably 8 or 9 years ago, to do a renovation to this garage that you just reviewed. But we're looking to do a series of additions to the existing structure. Also replace the foundation. A good amount of the program is going into the basement so that the architectural characteristics and massing schematic are maintained, and so that all of these additions are secondary in their massing scale, and they're also reflective of the Underhill cottage language. So I can just go through elevation by elevation. We have the comparative 1/8-inch elevations for reference to show you the existing versus the proposed. So this structure has a second story to it in one area, which we're looking to maintain. But basically, we try to take an approach where we're doing additions to the structure and not really removing or demolishing anything. So you can see we're doing additions to the right side of the elevation and adding a covered porch over the front door. That porch detail is something that you'll find throughout Sconset on a series of Underhill cottages. So obviously, we've referenced other projects in the area and that have been done over the past 15, 20 years, and use that as our antecedent, if you will. We're proposing to raise the plate of that lower eave, if you will, and then do an addition to the west. Again, all this massing schematic, if you will, just try to be as sensitive as possible in terms of the scale, size, so we're not overwhelming the existing architectural massing, if you will. West elevation is probably the area that has the largest change, and it's a one-story addition. I did read Holly's comments, which are always great and appreciated. The pent roof she mentioned, without that pent roof, that elevation looked a little underdeveloped. And this is something that we've used at 5 Evelyn Street as well, which we can provide photographs, or if you're in the area, you can check it out. Our eave heights are very low. In terms of trim, just going back, general description, exterior trim, all the exterior trim details are to match existing. All window styles and types are generally to match existing, to get an exception of the new. Rear elevations, east is towards the side property yard. But again, we just try to cloud the areas of addition. And the south elevation, again, I don't really think this is visible from anywhere, but again, all of our additions are additive. We're not really taking away anything that's there now. And then we just provided some simple massing perspective street view to show you what this would look like in 3D. We also established a datum to not, we are obviously moving the structure on the site, but we drew an imaginary datum across the street, and so we're not coming any further than any other house that's on this street. And there's been a number in the area that have been renovated over the years. So with that, look forward to comments from the board, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate the presentation. So I had this one, and my, given the sensitivity of the structure, I felt it was appropriate to come here. The only, Matt, I was having trouble getting, what's the height of the doors, and in particular on the west elevation?
Should be 6'8".
Is it 6'8"? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that addresses something that looked out of proportion to me, but it actually works based upon the door heights. Okay, those are my comments as the one who reviewed for consent. The board is Abby, Angus, me, Val, and Joe. Right? Joe didn't go on the last one, did he?
Yes.
It was on the last one.
You
yeah.
were on the last one, I'm sorry.
I don't want to
Same
be on
building.
this.
So it'll be Connie and Carrie. Val is not gonna be on this. Okay, concerns, folks? If any.
I had a concern.
Okay, Abby?
So Matt, I see that it, so I was worried about losing the front of the house as a historic house. And I see that you've done all your addition to the right-hand side. And it steps back like 7 feet from the original. But I think the addition is a bit overwhelming and it sort of takes away from the historic structure itself. So I was sort of trying to come up with an idea of how you would add this, do the addition without losing without losing the historic structure.
Okay. Anything else?
That was my concern.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, Angus?
Look at this.
Yeah, my concern is that it's overwhelming the scale of the existing structure. What's typical of these cottages, and I don't know if this is Underhill because the date is 91 or 1901, what was it? On the application? Because 1910, all the Underhills I know of were done in the 1880s. And so, yeah, the eaves are typically lower as they come down towards the street. And the roof lines are generally simpler than this, and the pent roof is uncharacteristic of the Underhills. Exposed, yeah, the exposed chimney too is out of character. Yeah, I think that this needs revisions to fit more in with the character of the other Underhills on the street. Thank you.
Thank you. Connie?
Yeah, my concern is what's already been stated about this kind of overwhelming the basic cottage. So I would agree that it maybe needs to get looked at again.
Okay, thanks, Val.
Thank you.
I'm not on it.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I didn't erase you. Carrie?
I agree with everybody's comments so far, but I also think this should not be moved from its original location.
Okay. Anything else?
No,
Okay.
not that anyone else has already said.
Okay, thank you. So you agree with the other comments? Matt, so for me, I'm gonna be a little more specific. Can we go to the elevations, please? In particular, the north and the west. Well, first of all, I think the west elevation, I'll nitpick about it a little bit. But can we see the lower left too, just if you scroll up a little bit? In addition to removing the line set housings on the outside of the building, which are definitely not historic, but I appreciate the fact they're in the drawing. I think that this is actually an improvement on this elevation, and it's an improvement in keeping with the character of the cottages, the design vocabulary. For me, can we scroll down just a little bit so we see both 1 and 2? Yeah. No, size was good, just re-centered a little bit. For me, Matt, I think it'll be beneficial on the west elevation, but it reads more on the north. That I think the addition needs to come down, this gable forward, and this structure. They need to come down like 6 to 9 inches at the top plate. It needs to be smaller. I think it's going to be charming. It's going to be more in keeping with the cottages. And you've got some room with that gable entry to work your door height. You could actually make that,
Have it go up.
yeah, it can go up, and it's not going to affect your program, and it's going to make a tremendous difference, I think, in the presentation of this, and it's going to be much more in keeping with the, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to hold it to talk about tonight.
That's a good idea.
So I would suggest we do, I think Angus had said a motion for revisions.
That's correct.
Okay, on your motion?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
Val? Not on it. Connie?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay,
Thank
thanks,
you very
Matt.
much. Appreciate it.
All right, 8 Mass Ave. Tori, good evening.
Good evening again.
When you're ready.
Sure. This is a new proposed garage boathouse at 8 Mass Ave, Smiths Point, Nantucket. We are limited in the available building envelope on the property to the general corner that we are currently laid out in. We are proposing the rounded doors because they match the existing rounded garage door on the house across the street that is same ownership. There is a similar boathouse in the area, and there's behind this on Rhode Island are mostly 1.5 story, 2-story cottages and such. And it's kind of a nice transition. Most of the ones on the water are more 1-story original small cottages, and across the street here kind of graduates up to even further behind us. We've done our best to match the windows in the main house as well. And I believe there's photos there if you'd like to look at the main house across the street. And if there are no other questions, I will leave it to your deliberation.
Thank you, Tori. Joe, you had this. And why don't we have you'll be sitting on it. Oh, did Joe clock off?
No, I'm here. I'm sorry, my volume was off.
No, that's fine. I just recalled that you might have been, had to depart earlier, that's all, or by this time. Go ahead.
Well, this is a sensitive area, so I didn't spend too much time thinking about it other than I thought it was appropriate that we all look at it. There's some proportional things, and I don't know if it's the CAD program or not here, but it feels, can you come back to me? I want to go back and look at the main.
Yeah, sure. Not a problem at all.
Okay, thanks.
Val?
I actually would like to view, I know that Tori's right, there is a boathouse out there somewhere toward, when you get to where you launch the boats, but just to sort of compare, I think it's on the same side and.
Yep.
Just
Okay.
for scale.
Sure. Angus, Abby?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the low eaves and the additive massing. And, yeah, but I think a closer look with a viewing would probably be a good idea.
Abby?
So I'm not sure about the rounded corners on the boathouse doors. But so my favorite building out there is the Admiralty Club.
Yep.
I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like a
Absolutely.
broke back and it has a swooping down porch. And I wonder if we couldn't somehow incorporate those characteristics into the front of this and make it sit a little more, this might look a little odd coming out of, it's pretty open there. And it's an oddity for Nantucket. So in order to make it fit in a little bit more, I would maybe look at the Nantucket vernacular just a little bit more and make it fit in. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Abby. Joe, you want me to come back to you or you want me to go?
No, I'm good. I guess I have a question about the actual character of the garage doors. Those aren't articulated, and I do appreciate the low additive massing. I do think that the wings could probably come down a little bit further so that there's more hierarchy between the central gable and these shed additions, and I think tightening up the eave line to the window head casings on those wings would be helpful. I appreciate the quirky asymmetry of the proposal. And those are my comments. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. So, Tori, I'm just some specifics. I think that I think the massing is appropriate. I think in terms of the relationship of the masses to one another, I believe that given the height of 22 feet and the width of the two-story structure under the gable, you probably got a good foot you can drop out of the first story. And in that, you would be able to lower your top plates on the wings and the height of the ridge. And if you took a foot out of this building and ditched the hipped pent roof and made that a shed, I vote for it right now. Because I think this is a Nantucket, that's a Nantucket structure with the reductions, including the arch doors. Yeah.
So I see that you have white trim on this, and if it's reading as like a boathouse, so, which puts it as like a secondary building, I think natural to weather might really kind of make it fit in a little bit more.
If I may, through you, Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
to Abby. We did that because the house is white across the street, Abby, and the one next door and blah, blah, blah. Most of them are white trim out there, but we're more than happy to accommodate a natural to weather, I'm sure.
Okay, so it sounds like we're gonna do hold for revisions in a view. Is that, or we're, Are we still in that direction?
Sure, I'll make that motion. Hold for revisions and a view.
Yeah, I mean, that's right next to it. It's like
But
almost the same building.
We want to differentiate it a little.
Well, I know it. Yeah, just take a foot out of the plate and we're good to go. Okay, so on Abby's motion,
I'm an
Abby.
aye. Aye.
Angus,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
and I'm an aye.
And Steve, could I just ask for one clarification?
sure.
Ditch the hip tent roof on which?
Just
si-
make it a shed
On,
versus a hip.
on both sides of this
Yeah.
first floor or?
No, just
Or the
over the
overhang?
garage door, the hip.
Okay,
Yeah, just turn that into a shed
yeah,
roof.
got it, thank you.
Okay?
Yep, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Now we're on to 10 Maxi Pond. Do we have the applicant's agent? Okay, guys, before we get started on this, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, please. And when I say I, I'm speaking for you as the commission. It's, let's be brief, direct. It's a fence, either we're gonna accept it is, or we're gonna go for our standard changes. Please. I'm sorry, who's representing?
This is Lucas on behalf of the applicant.
Hey, Lucas. Please be brief.
You got it. So obviously this was for review, so I'll skip the site photos, which you guys saw in person. Real quick, you can see from an older photo of the area, there was an existing an existing gate where there is a new gate. Obviously, it's a new gate, but there was an existing one there predating the purchase of the property. Local precedent from similarly visible public ways, similar deer fences. This particular one is wooden posts with wires 7 foot tall. The immediate neighbor is these first groups of photos here. Second ones are ones off Nantucket Road, and third are near adjacencies. The fence is dashed in red. It was built in 2022 when this was abutting private land of the Anglers Club. It was built by the owner. In preempting any concerns, the owner off the bat would offer to remove the horizontal supports in any visible areas. We did a quick rendering of an existing photo and a quick Photoshop showing those horizontal elements removed. We think it definitely makes it blend in a little bit more. Additionally, definitely would be open to any sort of additional screening.
Okay, thank you. Your board is Angus, Abby, me, Val, and Connie, 1, 2. I think Carrie and Connie are split. Pick a number between 1 and 10, Connie.
5.
Carrie?
1.
What?
1.
Oh, Connie was closest without going over. 4. Okay, so Connie's on this one.
You did go over. 9.
Oh, yeah, you did. So it's Carrie. Sorry, it's been a long life.
I'm happy to start.
Please.
So normally we have like a heavily vegetated lot where there are lots of trees and all of that, where we can just sort of say, step back 15, 20, 30, whatever feet into the lot and it'll disappear into the vegetation. This lot is unique, especially from the perspective of Maxi Pond and the cemetery. And so there, where the trees are, there's room for screening, but then they're like open field areas, which screening would look as inappropriate, if not more so, than the fence itself. So it's a tricky situation for deer fence, and it might just take a rethinking what aspect of the lot gets deer fence. So I would not want it visible, and it's certainly not appropriate on top of or next to the split rail fence, which is perfectly appropriate.
Thank you. Does anyone disagree that it shouldn't be visible and it shouldn't be on top of the split rail fence?
I agree with that.
And can we make a motion for revisions to that end?
I like that
Well,
motion.
hold on, I just want to make sure everyone's okay with that.
Yes.
Okay, so can we make a motion for revisions to present a fence that's not visible? And what was the other thing? Oh, not on top of the split rail fence.
Right, yeah, that's my motion. But it includes these very large posts and,
Yeah, we're
yeah.
gonna, our authority, as the authority having jurisdiction is a magic wand, so
Yeah,
we can
we
make a
don't,
motion.
we don't want to see this, any fencing looking across the pond at something like this. That's my motion.
Okay, on your motion, Abby?
I'm an aye.
Angus?
Aye.
Val?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay, that moves us over to.
If I just can get some clarification on the motion.
Go ahead.
It seems like there's the segment with the split rail fence. You're saying you would not like to see the split rail fence and the deer fence in that location?
I think, Lucas, the takeaway there is that primarily the fence is not to be visible and primarily the posts, but most all of it. And that as a function of that, it's not going to be so close as the split rail fence that it's going to be on top of it. But we wanted to point out that the proximity of the fences next to one another is also inappropriate.
Could I add that? We're talking about the gate.
You know, I would point out that there's neighboring precedents directly with the same visibility in the exact same condition.
So, Lucas, we appreciate that line of thought. However, the HCC does not work on a precedent basis. We work on a case-by-case basis. And in addition, we would need for even any of that to have a tiny bit of water, hold a tiny bit of water, we would need to see the approvals. And we would also need to have previously confirmed that not only were there approvals, but that they'd been inspected and had passed. So we're looking at this one and we're looking at an as-built condition where the individual did not bother to come to the Historic District Commission despite widely publicized since 1955, the requirement to do so, and we're gonna move on, okay?
So I'm a little unclear of the next step.
So we need revisions to, of a fence that's not visible and not on top of the split rail fence. And you can extend that to any gate that has not been previously approved. Okay? I
Any
think that's
questions?
fairly clear.
Yeah, it's a little unclear, but I'll follow up separately. I appreciate
Yeah.
your time.
Yep, and I don't know if Kathy can make it any clearer, but we're happy to try. Okay, thank you. 4 East Lincoln Ave, revised driveway.
Mr. Chair, Stephen is not on, and Linda wants to hold her applications, and of course, you know that Chris is holding his applications.
Okay, so now we do have a little bit of a conundrum. Elizabeth Churchill is here. She was at the beginning of the meeting. We did not have an agent, and we determined that we would hold the slot open until 5:30, and 5:30 is obviously come and gone. Do we want to review the shed and the driveway revision for 22 Coffin Street while we're here now?
Sure.
Okay, so Elizabeth, we're going to ask you to please be succinct.
Hang on one second. No, she's here. She's just.
Hi.
Hi, Elizabeth, and just please note for the future, I mean, I understand there may be extenuating circumstances and we're not, there's no intention to be callous, but for meeting management, if people don't show up, we're holding an opportunity to speak at that meeting.
Right.
Approximately a half an hour, but we're going to stick to that pretty rigidly going forward.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you have the floor. Why don't you, again, succinctly run us through the proposed?
Mr. Chair, through you to Elizabeth. Did you want to screen share, Elizabeth?
I don't think we need to do that. This is pretty simple.
Okay.
Would you like to talk about the driveway first?
What's first on the agenda is the shed.
Okay. Okay. Um, so what we'd like to do is get above ground storage. This is a very limited lot, as you can see. The house is in its existing location, which is pushed to the rear of the site. So there really is no opportunity to put a shed behind the house, which we normally would do. So I have tried to design something that is very diminutive in scale, built into the hill and hidden by the privet hedge. So it's very low. I have dimensioned it there for you. And just to keep it, attractive. I certainly read Holly's comments about the corner boards. That's a minor detail. We'd be certainly willing to change that. But this is a very good location for the shed for the owner. If you go to the other side of the site, which is the east side of the site, it starts to fall off, and there's a massive privet hedge, which what you're not seeing here is the contours of this site, and it drops a lot from the setback line to the property line. It probably drops about 7 or 8 feet on the other side of that privet hedge. And so it just will really impede.
Elizabeth, can,
Yeah.
just, I think on the structural aspects, architectural aspects, is there anything to add?
No, I think that's pretty much it. As I just said, I just tried to build it into the hill and keep it as low as possible.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate it. Let's see, Angus, you had this on your review for consent. Do you have comments?
I did. So there were three things for this: the addition, the driveway, and the shed. The shed really, if you're following the guidelines, the shed should be behind the house or behind the facade and to the side of the house, which it's neither. And what makes it worse is that it's on the corner. So we're getting, two road perspectives of it being in a place that doesn't follow the guidelines. As the addition was approved in consent tonight, that really would be the location for the shed. So that was my concern. The shed itself is well proportioned and designed and lovely and all that, but it's just the location is inappropriate.
Thank you. Let's see, the regular board and Connie are sitting. Abby?
I agree with Angus. If I were to have this shed, I would put it to the left of the building and back towards the back of the site. This is placed like right in front of the building, and it obscures the view of the building, which I'm going on to say that's the same view I have about the driveway as well. But we're talking about the shed, so I think there's another place for it. Thanks.
Thanks, Val.
I have nothing to add.
Connie?
Neither do I.
I'm actually okay with it here. I mean, I know, given the privet that's in place and the oblique angle that it'd be viewed at, and, there are sheds on Angola Street in the front and on Westchester and things along those lines where this is not those. So those are my thoughts. But it sounds like we're going to get a motion to hold for relocation. Is that?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. On your motion?
I'm an aye.
Angus?
Aye.
Val?
Aye.
Connie?
Aye.
And I'm a no. For the record. We are now on to the
Driveway.
driveway.
Okay. Okay, so this is keeping the existing entrance to the driveway. and just trying to give a better access to the front door, and give a turnaround to this, very tight lot. And it's very low, very hard to see. I don't know if any of you have driven past this, but it's virtually impossible to see in this lot when you're driving by because it's completely surrounded by privet. You're on a hill, you're coming to a stop sign. You have to really, you'd have to stop to really sort of take a look. This is at ground level. So, yeah, we're just trying to make this a year-round house and to accommodate more than one car and use the existing driveway in. So that's my comments.
So again,
Thanks, Elizabeth. Angus, this was on your list.
this was on my consent, and so for the same reasons that we didn't pass a turnout in front of a house earlier in the meeting, the same thing applies, that it's not following the guidelines or appropriate to have parking and/or driveway in front of the house. I believe that there's parking now that's probably been there a very long time, and I'm not even sure if it's shell. There isn't a photograph of it, but it's might just be grass, but
It's shell.
it's just kind of parking in front, but to the side a little bit, and so that's really where it should be, is more of to the east, and less in the front. So that was my issue.
The parking right now is a shell driveway that comes straight in, probably about 40 feet into the lot, straight in from that access that you're looking at.
Okay, thanks, Elizabeth. Val?
I I know this site, I know this house, I know this guy. And it is a precarious corner to back in and out of, that is for sure. But maybe the solution is to make the turnaround, it's just so much. It goes from end to end of the house, like try to consolidate it.
Okay, thanks. Abby?
Yeah, in fact, I would move the whole driveway towards the east and have it come up that east side of the lot instead of coming right in on that dangerous corner. I'd move it all the way over and try to figure it out from there.
Can I make a comment?
Hold on one second, please, Connie.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think the driveway, the turnaround is just too wide. It just takes up the whole lot. If it somehow can be shortened, that would be, I think, more appropriate. Thank you.
Elizabeth, what's the width of the apron?
I would say the width of that apron is probably about 15 feet.
Okay, so I
yeah.
want to, a couple things. One, is this the existing entryway?
Yes, absolutely existing. Nothing's changed.
Okay, because under zoning, I believe you can't add a driveway access within 25 feet of a corner. So it's very close if it's not existing. So if it's existing, I'm actually okay with this, and the rationale is that you're creating parking to the left and the right behind the privet. So in effect, you're hiding the vehicles and you're creating a space, a corridor to view the front of the building. So for me, that's actually a net increase and generally attractive. Whereas otherwise, I think what would happen is the parking would be perhaps farthest away from West Sankaty, double wide, and there'd be privet all around the front yard, and you wouldn't see any of the structure, and all you'd see when you go by is a couple of the arse end of a couple of cars or trucks. So I'm actually, I mean, personally, I think this is appropriate, but it sounds like we're gonna need, it sounds like the board is looking for some revisions.
Well, if you don't mind, I would like to respond to Abby's comments.
Sure.
Abby, as you go down that hill, it gets quite steep, and you see the concrete bollards I've shown there on the site plan, which is to keep people from veering off into the ditch. So it would be very precarious to try and bring any kind of a driveway in any lower there. And also, as people come around that corner, which I do probably 6 times a day, on West Sankaty onto Coffin, they gain a lot of speed coming down that hill. And I think the further you go down, the more speed they gain. So actually, where this driveway is now is a better place because you've just stopped. And as you're stopped, you see, a driveway. But as you push it further down the hill, you're kind of whipping around that corner and you're gunning it. There's no doubt about it. And I do totally agree that right now the car sits right in front of the house, and that's all you see is a black Jeep.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Val?
You know what I think will help, is some photos of the existing situation, A. B, I'm looking at the Google Earth thing, and that is very helpful, so maybe include that. And maybe we can.
When you say Google Earth, you're talking about the Google Earth aerial view of the existing conditions?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking down at the corner. It is a
All
precarious
right,
corner.
so we're looking for photos of the existing from the street relative to the house, an aerial, the most recent aerial from the Google Earth, and revisions as you and your client will be willing to provide. Okay, Elizabeth?
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
so Val, is that your motion?
Yeah, and I'm gonna go out there too, so.
Yeah, and we'll do a view.
Yeah.
And a view. On your motion, Val.
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
Angus?
Aye.
Connie?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Did I hear that 25 Prospect is on hold?
Yes, you did.
Okay, so next meeting is August 26th, so motion to approve minutes. Anyone?
I didn't read them.
You can make a motion
To what?
To
to
hold
approve
them.
them. You don't have to vote yes.
Oh. That seems silly.
Yeah, but
I'll
it
make-
gets us out of here.
I'll make a motion to
Thank you.
approve the minutes of,
We'll do a vote of the members present. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Oh, I'm a
opposed.
no.
I didn't read them, okay.
Yeah.
Next meeting is next Tuesday, imagine that. And are we coming up close on the following day is the appeal of 10 North Water? So today's the 23rd, so, yeah, so it's the following day, yeah.
30th.
Yeah, so we have a meeting Tuesday, and then we have a appeal in front of the select board. Joy.
Right.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
On what day?
Wednesday, October 1st.
I'll be at jury duty.
Uh-oh. Well, not at night. You'll have time to prepare. Did I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Members
Aye.
present? Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Thanks, everyone. Really great job tonight.
Good night.
Good night.
Night, Jeff.
I think we're doing a pretty good job.